You are a veterinarian capable of curing even cancer. But after curing your blind girlfriend's AIDS, he went to great lengths to marry into a wealthy family. Not only did he bribe the 18 patients you once saved, he also took you to court, claiming you were practicing medicine without a license, and insisting you should be sentenced to over 50 years in prison. Hearing this, you didn't grow angry but instead laughed, because you had acquired a system that could deliver illnesses, capable of handling any complex or incurable disease. As long as you touch someone, they can be healed. At the same time, you can also transfer the illness you absorbed by touching others. You pass the absorbed diseases to other people through touch. In just a short month, patients healed by your touch kept coming in. You thought you could become a revered miracle doctor. But little did you expect that those people, driven by greed, would disregard the life-saving kindness you showed, and take you to court. Since kindness brought no reward, then the only choice is to return the pain in full. At this moment, on the judgment stand, you turn to the first victim. Clenching your teeth, you question Granny Do. Did you see it clearly? Did I really harm you? Back then, when you saw the other person was elderly, you thought they looked pitiful. Not only did you treat them for free, you even paid hundreds out of your own pocket. Who would have thought it would lead to such consequences? That's right, it was you who tricked me into taking fake medicine back then. Not only did it not work, you even swindled away more than $10,000 of my retirement savings. You heartless beast with no one to raise you. Give me back my money. Mrs. Do made up her mind. She turned into a shrew, rushing forward aggressively and slapping you hard. The sound of that slap was loud and clear. You couldn't help but laugh out of frustration. But that laugh also woke you up completely. In the next moment, your gaze turned icy cold. You successfully delivered a dose of heart attack karma, reducing 1 merit point. You successfully delivered a dose of brain cancer karma, reducing 1 merit point. You successfully delivered a dose of high blood pressure karma, leaving your current merit score at 96. These 3 conditions were originally collected from the other person. Now, they're being returned in full. At this moment, Aunt Do had no clue what was happening. She still wanted to keep arguing, thinking that this way of dividing the money would surely bring the most profit. Eventually stopped by a nearby officer who couldn't bear to watch any longer, exposing the disgraceful faces of the next 17 victims, each one more vile than the last. In order to gain higher rewards, they fabricated all sorts of baseless accusations. Little did they know that during their reckless defamation, you returned every one of their ailments to them. For those with terminal illnesses, their fate was sealed, and for those without, their suffering doubled. At that moment, the judge's cold voice echoed, addressing the defendant. Do you plead guilty now? Just as you were about to speak, a pleasant yet urgent voice interrupted, saying wait a moment. Following the direction of the sound, you saw a tall and graceful figure hurrying over. In an instant, you remembered who it was. Sia, the last patient you saved 3 days ago. They were suffering from a rare heart defect. It required an expensive imported medication for maintenance. In the end, you managed to fix it. Afterward, Sia wanted to give you $1 million. But you turned it down. However, what you never expected was the other party would actually show up here. Could it be that they're also here to falsely accuse you? While you were contemplating, Sia had already spoken up in front of everyone. I request to defend the defendant. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire room fell silent. Even you yourself were momentarily stunned. Meanwhile, Sia had already submitted the documents to the judge. These transfer records are sufficient to prove that our client only gained an amount of 3,000 anbai and caused no harm to the victim. However, due to practicing medicine without a license, our client is willing to be charged with fraud, to accept the full financial penalty, and to provide fair compensation to the victim. The 18 victims, upon hearing this, became immediately anxious and refused to accept it, insisting that the scammer must be severely punished, and demanded both compensation and imprisonment. Otherwise, they would never forgive him. Hearing this, Sia turned her head, her beautiful eyes slightly reflecting the solemnity of the courtroom, reminding everyone that all statements made here carry criminal liability, stating that the amounts mentioned could all be traced, and asking if they were certain that everything they claimed was true. 18 people suddenly felt guilty, because these were indeed lies they had made up. At this moment, Sia continued, regarding the faults of our client, we can offer each of you $5 million in compensation. The 18 people froze for a moment, then quickly became so excited they started coughing. As long as he compensates us for our losses, we are willing to forgive him. And with 3 loud knocks of the gavel, it was settled. The judge announced the final verdict. The defendant was convicted of practicing medicine without a license and fraud. Multiple charges were combined for sentencing. A total compensation of 5.69 million yuan was ordered. Additionally, the defendant was permanently banned from practicing medicine in Longhua. As soon as the statement ended, the scene in the livestream erupted in shock. Wait, is that it? Paying some money means no jail time. Get out of Longhua, you disgraceful person. In the end, you walked out of the courtroom amidst accusations and insults from others. Then, to repay Sia, you tore the letter of understanding into 3 pieces and gave it to him. And you told him that in the future he could use these 3 slips of paper to request your help 3 times. Sia felt a bit puzzled, but out of politeness, he still accepted the slips of paper. And then he left. What he didn't realize was, these 3 seemingly random and tattered notes would later become something countless wealthy tycoons in the Dragon Kingdom would fiercely compete for. Dr. Son, could I have a word with you? Suddenly, behind you, appeared a foreign man with a face full of white beard, accompanied by 2 foreign bodyguards by his side. You turned around and looked at him. There wasn't the slightest hint of surprise. The foreign man standing before you was named Herbert. He had once been in the terminal stages of cancer. At that time, Western medicine had already reached its limits, so he decided to take a chance and visit Long Country. But he never expected to encounter you. After being cured by you, Herbert offered you a multi-million-dollar annual salary to work in his country. Yet you turned him down, because at that moment, still holding on to a naive desire to save the world and help others. But at this moment, you bluntly demanded 1 billion in profit. 6 months later, I went to Ligua as a medical practitioner for a year under the guise of being a foreign student. As for why it had to be 6 months later, naturally, it was to settle all scores before leaving. To take revenge on those who deserved it first. Herbert agreed without much hesitation, sealing the deal. And just like that, it happened quickly. You stared at the 1 billion profit displayed on your phone, took a direct cab ride to the nearest dealership, spent over 1.6 million dragon coins on a Panamera, relished an experience like never before. You chuckled bitterly, thinking how poverty had become second nature, possessing such an extraordinary system. Yet only thinking about becoming some kind of saint. Your eyes suddenly turned icy cold. Next, it was time to deal with that vile person. Meanwhile, inside a small rented room. Cher, are you sure these are the remedies that can cure illnesses? A young man dressed in a designer suit looked at the selection of traditional herbs with some doubt. Based on his medical knowledge, it was clear that these were merely supplements. Seeing this, Wu Yashue pretended to be upset, playfully saying she had even betrayed her favorite boyfriend for him. And yet he still didn't trust her. Could he really not believe her sincerity? Hearing this, a flicker of disgust crossed Lu Xiangfeng's eyes. But on the surface, he maintained a smile. Pulling Wu Yashue close, he said, "Isn't this to make sure everything goes perfectly? After all, these prescriptions are tied to our future. There's no way they're wrong. That fool pretends to be mysterious every time he takes a patient's pulse. After examining them, he always has them drink a bowl of soup brewed from these herbs. Even my eyesight was cured this way by him. That idiot even tried to trick me into believing he gained some sort of superpower." This really had me cracking up. Hearing those words, Lu Xiangfeng dismissed his last shred of hesitation. Then, a sly grin appeared on his face. His hand started to wander over Wu Yashue's hips. Just as the two were about to take things to the next level, the door was suddenly slammed open. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there appeared right in front of them. And it was you, who had driven through the night in your Panamera to find them. The two of them were instantly startled by the sudden situation. Your gaze shifted to Lu Xiangfeng. This person had approached you a few times before. He claimed to be from the Lu Pharmaceutical Group. He expressed an interest in buying your formula to benefit more people in Long Country. The offer was raised several times, eventually reaching 10,000. However, you didn't actually have any formula to sell. So, you turned him down. Now, looking at the scene before you again. Even if you were slow to realize, you now fully understood what was going on. The ones responsible for your downfall are the shameless pair standing right in front of you. It seems they know you've figured it out. Instead of holding back, Lu Xiangfeng showed no restraint. Instead, he brazenly put his arm around Wu Yashue and walked right up to you. Back then, I gave you a chance, but you blew it. You're just a lowly nobody. And you think you can take on the Lu Pharmaceutical Group. Crushing you would only take a moment. As he spoke, he didn't forget to humiliate you by patting your face. But seeing this, you simply smiled. This is entirely your own doing. Ding Chenggong deducts 1 merit for causing impotence. Ding Chenggong deducts 1 merit for spreading rabies. Ding Chenggong deducts 1 merit for causing AIDS. Your merit has dropped drastically from 66 to 44. At the same time, Wu Yashue stopped pretending. She looked at you. Mockingly said, handing out diseases. If it weren't for my eye condition, in 3 years, I will need you to donate your corneas. Did you really think I would choose you, a broke and sickly person, as my boyfriend? To be honest with you, over these 3 years, in my eyes, you were nothing more than a dog I could call on at any time. But you should feel lucky. You stumbled upon some good fortune and got access to these remedies. It healed my eyes. Otherwise, those eyes of yours might have been gone already. After saying that, he turned his gaze toward Lu Xiangfeng. Gently, he said that everything about her now belongs solely to young Master Lu. Then, he actually leaned in and kissed her right in front of you. It could be described as a blow that cuts deep. Of course, what Wu Yashue didn't know was, Lu Xiangfeng had already contracted AIDS. Meanwhile, you took advantage of their passionate kiss. Deliberately brushed past Wu Yashue. Ding Chenggong handed over the eye membrane disease, reducing his merits by 1. This time, you only returned the eye disease you absorbed from Wu Yashue earlier. As for the rest, Lu Xiangfeng spreading the infection will be enough. After all, letting that vile person die too quickly would make it far less interesting. At that moment, Lu Xiangfeng suddenly glanced at you and mockingly said, "Why haven't you left yet?" Planning to watch the drama unfold. Hearing that, you immediately sat down on the couch without saying a word. Sure, go ahead and continue. I'll cheer you on. Upon hearing those words, Lu Xiangfeng and the other person froze in disbelief. It seems they were too stunned to react. Wu Yashue immediately shot you a venomous glare. Then she turned to Lu Xiangfeng, speaking sweetly, "Darling, don't bother with this frail person. Let's head over to the master bedroom at your place. It's much more comfortable there than this shabby rental." "Alright, let's do that." You watched the two of them leave together, holding each other. After letting out a cold laugh, you also left the rental room. However, after taking just a few steps, you suddenly felt a bit dizzy and lightheaded. Your complexion turned pale, and you started feeling weak. At the same time, the system's voice announced, "The host has a pathogenic constitution. By absorbing illnesses, one can accumulate virtue and enhance their physical condition. Likewise, spreading viruses and losing virtue can bring misfortune. In fact, when the virtue drops into negative numbers, the host might even face death." Hearing this, you can't help but gasp. It seems opening a veterinary clinic to gain some virtue is the way to go. You start planning this in your mind. After taking just a few steps, a faint barking sound suddenly reaches your ears. Looking in the direction of the sound using the light from your phone, a filthy stray dog could be seen covered in dirt. It was lying lifelessly in a foul-smelling ditch. Its legs were tightly bound with wire. Even its mouth was sealed shut with a plastic bucket. It was clear that this was an act caused by humans. With a sigh, you felt a pang of sadness. You picked the little dog up from the dirty ditch. The moment you touched the dog, a familiar system detection sound rang out with a ding. Detected a dog with 8 diagnosed illnesses: skin diseases, eye problems, respiratory illnesses, and pharyngitis. Next, you skillfully placed your hand on the puppy's body, silently initiating the method to absorb the illness. Before long, the 8 ailments on the puppy were absorbed by you. At the same time, your virtue points increased from 43 to 51. The puppy seemed to realize you were the one who saved it. It wagged its tail and kept licking your shoes. Seeing this, you were momentarily stunned. Even an animal understands gratitude. But what about those people? Soon after, you drove off with the puppy, heading toward a 5-star hotel. Just as you arrived at the entrance of the luxurious hotel, a female attendant immediately came forward to greet you. However, when she saw a modestly dressed person with a dog, she was instantly stunned and stood there in disbelief. Even some of the upper-class individuals nearby cast curious and puzzled glances in your direction. Driving a luxury car, yet dressed in such a humble manner. The contrast is simply overwhelming. Sir, my sincerest apologies. Pets are not allowed in this hotel. The waitress quickly realized what was happening. She gave a professional yet forced smile, but her eyes revealed a hint of disdain and contempt. In her mind, she likely imagined you as a nouveau riche. You didn't say much more. You calmly pulled out that world-class bank card. The room fell silent instantly. The waitress drew in a sharp, audible gasp. A billionaire in the truest sense of the word. At this moment, you glanced at the waitress. You spoke calmly. Clean it thoroughly for her. And deliver it to my room. Is that clear? No, no problem at all. The waitress quickly shook her head. And that's how it went. You moved into the presidential suite under the surprised gazes of everyone around you. Coincidentally, at the same time, in a suite of this hotel, Wu Yashua and Lu Xiangfeng were playing cards. Except Wu Yashua was lying on the bed, waiting helplessly for ages. But Lu Xiangfeng just wouldn't play his card. Other than covering him in spit. There was nothing else she could do. What on earth is going on? Why isn't it cooperating today? Lu Xiangfeng felt frustrated. He stopped his pointless efforts. Wu Yashua smiled charmingly and said she would give him some encouragement. Then, she leaned in and took action. However, after a long time of encouragement, it still had no effect at all. Go to sleep. Feeling humiliated, Lu Xiangfeng became inexplicably irritated and wanted to lash out. Wu Yashua, unable to suppress her desire, felt her eyes becoming itchy and slightly sore. On the other side, you slept soundly until noon. After enjoying another luxurious and high-end meal, you brought along your dog, Wang Kai, and headed toward the snack street where you once ran a medical clinic. However, since you lost the case in court, the clinic is currently being sealed off. It's you. You immediately turned and went to the Lanzhou noodle shop across the street. You got straight to the point and said you wanted to buy the shop for 2 million. And just like that, it didn't take long. What used to be a Lanzhou noodle shop has now turned into a veterinary clinic. From now on, you only work as a veterinarian. A veterinarian specializing in treating animals. The next morning, after having breakfast with Wang Kai, you put on a white coat and waited for customers to arrive. But to your disappointment, the entire morning passed without a single customer. So you decisively closed the shop, planning to buy a villa. Last night you were browsing online. You pre-ordered a villa worth millions. Although the funeral clothing shop has rooms to sleep in, the summer heat is unbearable. Who would turn down a villa? At the same time, the sales office of Xicheng Real Estate. Her daughter is here. Mom is here. A woman in her 40s or 50s from the farm, waving from a distance and shouting loudly. But when she saw Wu Yashue was alone, her smile vanished instantly. Where are your daughter and son-in-law? Wu Yashue felt a bit disappointed. She had something to take care of, so she stopped by the hospital first. Oh, what happened to her? Wu Yanchun seemed a little worried. No, nothing's wrong. They were feeling a bit weak. Wu Yashue naturally couldn't reveal the truth. Lu Xiangfeng was experiencing impotence. Occasionally, there were sounds resembling a dog's bark. What should we do about that house? It had already been agreed upon earlier. Wu Yanchun was as anxious as a cat on a hot tin roof. He suggested we take a look at the house first. When the time comes, we'll arrange for installment payments. He promised to cover the payment for us. Hearing this, Wu Yanchun finally let out a deep sigh of relief. He smiled and said, "That's good to hear. Let's head inside quickly." As he spoke, he pulled Wu Yashua along and headed toward the sales center lobby. At the same time, you also arrived at the sales center lobby. Then, you dialed the number for the sales associate designated to assist you once again. "Mr. Song, where are you? I'm coming to find you now." Dr. Song, the renowned physician. A delightful and surprised female voice came simultaneously from the phone and behind you. You turned around to look. It was none other than someone dressed in professional office attire. Wearing black-rimmed glasses, it was Sia. At that moment, her small mouth was slightly open. Clearly, she hadn't expected it. The mysterious millionaire planning to buy a mansion worth hundreds of millions turned out to be you. This is quite a big deal. But where did you get so much money from? However, Sia quickly caught on. She managed to flash a charming smile. "Let me take you to have a look." You nodded politely, causing no trouble. In no time, the two of them arrived at the model display area for luxury villas. Suddenly, there was a commotion. Are you being unreasonable or what? Who pays $1 billion as a down payment? Call your manager here. I want to file a complaint against you. It was none other than Wu Yashue's mother, Wu Yanchun. She carefully picked and chose. In the end, she settled on the Tianfu Lakeview villa worth 280 million. Initially, she planned to make do with something else. But she didn't expect to be told the down payment would be 1 billion. Where are they supposed to come up with that kind of money? And then the situation escalated. Looking at Wu Yashue and her daughter, you're equally astonished. These past few days, you've been tossing and turning every night, unable to sleep, wondering if it might not be enough. Should you give Wu Yashue a bit more? But now, seeing the sunglasses the other person is wearing, you feel reassured. Mr. Song, please wait a moment. I'll handle it right away. The commotion was discovered. As the manager, Xia naturally couldn't stand by and do nothing. That's right. The Xiqing Real Estate Group is indeed owned by the Xi family. And just like that, very quickly, with Xia's persuasion, the mother and daughter purchased another villa worth 120 million. Although slightly annoyed, they were still happy in the end. But just as they were about to inspect the house and sign the contract, they happened to see Song Bing and her daughter. Both of them were surprised. But soon, Wu Yanchun's face turned vicious. She said, "Why are you following us? Let me warn you. My daughter already has a boyfriend. If you dare bother her again, and make her boyfriend misunderstand, I'll tear your face apart." Wu Yanchun then lunged forward, biting recklessly. Wu Yashue also stepped forward, coldly saying, "Prepare to meet your fate. Are you aware of this? This will only make me despise you even more. Do you really think you're worthy of me? That lesson from the other night still hasn't made you see yourself clearly. It's obvious that he also thinks you're stalking them. Did you hear that? You frail and sickly person. Take a hard look at yourself for once. What makes you think you're good enough for my daughter?" Wu Yanchun acted overbearingly. The more criticism it faced, the closer it seemed to get. Hearing this, your brows furrowed deeply. Suddenly, you thought of a serious issue. In the future, if Wu Yashue were to pass away, what would Wu Yanchun do all alone? Wouldn't he end up as a lonely elderly person, with no one to take care of him? You absolutely couldn't allow such a tragedy to happen. So Ding Changong delivered malignant oral cancer, reducing 1 point of virtue. You'd rather lose a bit of merit, just to reunite this mother and daughter. After all, as a veterinarian, that's what you do, specializing in treating all kinds of beasts, to help this family stay whole and together. But the unaware Wu Yanchun saw you walking past, and thought you were trying to run away. So he kept chasing after you, shouting angrily. Seeing this, his voice turned hoarse, and he immediately stopped holding back, saying, "Mr. Song is my client. Please watch your language, both of you. If you continue to speak so recklessly, without any manners, I won't hesitate to have security escort you out." The hoarse voice was cold, carrying an undeniable sense of authority. The mother and daughter were immediately intimidated. Wu Yashue was completely overwhelmed by the charisma and beauty behind the hoarseness, too frightened to say another word. But Wu Yanchun still managed to find a way to fight back. Mocked him as a poor nobody from the countryside. "A sickly person like you, how could you afford a house? You might as well buy a coffin instead." Nini, her voice hoarse, was furious at the venomous words of this woman. Just as she was about to lose control and make a move, you stopped her in her tracks, then smiled faintly as you turned to face the mother and daughter. "Indeed, buying a coffin seems more fitting for you too. For a pair of clowns on the brink of their end. You couldn't summon even the slightest desire to argue with them. It's like getting bitten by a dog. You wouldn't actually think of biting it back, would you? That would be so unsanitary." Seeing this, you couldn't say much more with a forced smile. "And so you were taken to check out a house. In no time. One of the most stunning real estate developments around Tianfu Lake. Most people who live here are essentially the wealthy elite. You took a quick look, and decisively said it was good enough. Go ahead and sign the contract. Mr. Song, the total price for this villa, paid in full, is 320 million dragon coins. If you include all the additional equipment and configurations, the total comes to 380 million dragon coins. Maybe you should reconsider other options," Xia subtly advised. "He knows about your savings. He's worried you'll stretch yourself too thin to impress others." Hearing this, you found yourself a little amused and exasperated. There's no need to think about saving him anymore. Seeing you insist on your decision, Xia had no choice but to follow along. Soon at the sales office, the Wu family mother and daughter had already arrived earlier. and they had used all their savings to make the down payment. They had also signed the contract. But upon seeing you arrive, the mother and daughter didn't seem in a hurry to leave. Instead, they stood aside with a mocking smile. They seemed eager to see what would happen. "What are you planning to use to sell the house?" Seeing this, Sia still wanted to salvage the situation with Mr. Song. Buying a house is a decision that impacts your entire life. How about taking a few more days to think it over? Upon hearing this, you simply smiled and said that you'd be busy treating animals next. "Let's do it now. Let's settle it with a full payment of 380 million. Left with no choice, Sia had to organize the contract. Meanwhile, the mother and daughter on the side looked on with mocking expressions. Oh, a convict who got sued and had to pay compensation. Even 380 million wouldn't be enough to spend on coffins like this. But in the very next moment, you signed your name without the slightest hesitation. Then, calmly handed over that prestigious purple and gold World Bank card. As the sound of a successful transaction rang out, in that instant, the last shred of hope in the hearts of the Wu family mother and daughter was completely shattered. Congratulations, Mr. Song, on becoming the owner of the Tianfu Lakeside residence. Sia quickly caught on. She smiled as she handed you the card and various documents. You stood up to express your gratitude. Then you picked up the property deed and walked away gracefully, leaving the Wu family mother and daughter in utter shock. In the following days, things continued like this. You rose to fame thanks to the system, and even hired an employee who was fair-skinned, beautiful, and had long legs. Life was indulgent, but on this particular day, you were leisurely scrolling through TikTok while wearing a white lab coat. A graceful figure suddenly appeared outside the door. She was wearing high heels. You thought it was AI Xiaoxiao. Instinctively, you looked over. The smile on your face vanished in an instant. Because the person wasn't AI Xiaoxiao. It was Wu Yashue, the one you've been longing for. She finally arrived. You've been waiting so long that even the flowers have withered. At the same time, Wu Yashue also noticed the figure on the couch. You were instantly overwhelmed with tears and rushed toward her. She said she doesn't want me anymore. Handing you a gift, she sobbed uncontrollably. This was the first time she had ever taken the initiative to embrace you. She was confident this hug would be enough to win your heart back. Yet, just as she lunged toward you, you stepped aside like a matador avoiding the charge, causing her to miss and fall short. Then you let out a cold laugh and said, "He doesn't want you. Just come to find me. Sorry about that. I don't take trash. Songbin, I was wrong. Can we start over? I swear this time I will truly cherish you." Wu Yashue showed genuine emotions. The acting was absolutely explosive. This is also what he's been doing for the past 3 years. The reason he could play you so easily. The next moment, your voice sounded with a mocking laugh. "Do you love me, or is it just for my money and prescriptions? You noticed I had value again. You want to drain everything out of me, and then discard me like trash, just like before. Wu Yashue, I've only now realized. Your shamelessness is thicker than the makeup on your face. How could someone like you exist in this world? A woman so utterly devoid of shame." Upon hearing this, Wu Yashua's voice broke into sobs. A trace of panic flickered in her eyes. It was clear she hadn't expected this. You figured out what was on her mind so effortlessly. Is this still the same person who used to cater to her every whim without question? But the real reason she finally lowered her guard was that she discovered her eye condition had relapsed, and she was facing the possibility of going blind at any moment. What's even more terrifying is, aside from his eye condition, he also contracted HIV. When the test results came back, he felt like his entire world was collapsing. He immediately called and messaged you desperately. But you had already blocked him long ago, so he had no choice but to come here, determined to deceive you into curing him at all costs. With this in mind, Wu Yashue gritted her teeth and pulled down her spaghetti strap, revealing skin as white as snow, then trying to leap toward you again. But just at that moment, Wang Kai suddenly dashed out. Then, following your command, fiercely lunged at Wu Yashue. "Song Bing, how dare you treat me like this? You will meet a terrible end. You'll regret this." Wu Yashue completely broke down, chased by Wang Kai, fleeing in a panic. Even the tip of her high heel broke off while running. At the same time, Grandma Du from First Hospital was lying in her hospital bed. It could be described as a fate worse than death. Previously, he falsely accused you of being exceptional. He received the largest share of the money. a total of over $500,000. He happily took the money home, planning to buy a house and arrange a wedding for his eldest grandson. The results hadn't been shown off for long. Someone got so excited that they fainted. They were taken to the hospital for an examination. A previously cured illness unexpectedly returned. The doctor told Grandma, "After all these days of treatment, your condition has worsened again. You need to undergo surgery." But all the money has already been spent. A burly man rushed in and sat by the bedside. It turns out he is Grandma Du's eldest grandson, Du Dahai. What kind of terrible hospital is this? How did the treatment cost so much and make the condition worse? Grandma Du could no longer groan in pain. She immediately started scolding. The doctor said, "This is a terminal illness. It's very hard to cure. It needs to be addressed gradually." Grandma Du became even more anxious when she heard that. She immediately thought of you. He cursed, saying it must have been that damned person who spread the illness. Back then, they didn't fully treat me, leaving behind this cursed root of the illness. It cost me all $500,000. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have ended up in this situation. Thinking of this, Grandma Du seemed to have identified the source of the problem. She quickly got up. Fuming with anger, she yelled to Dahai, "Let's go. We're going to find that scoundrel who caused this illness. If he doesn't fix me up properly again, I'll have no choice but to blow his lid off." The same kind of tragedy happened to those 18 people who reported you back in the day, unfolding one by one. Those who should be paralyzed became paralyzed. Those who should be coughing up blood ended up coughing blood, proving the saying that karma always comes around, and the heavens spare no one. Of course, this came after exhausting all their savings. After enduring countless tortures from illnesses, they all coincidentally thought of one person. That was the young man who once cured their terminal illness with just $100. At this moment, Song Veterinary Clinic's Dr. Song, you are truly incredible. Even my dog's congenital paralysis was healed by you. I didn't believe it when the person who referred me told me. It was all something I should have done. As long as it's a pet, you can come to me with any tricky issues. You politely bid farewell to the customer. Your mood is genuinely joyful, because the good deeds you've accumulated have finally reached 100. In the next instant, you suddenly feel that everything around you has gone eerily silent. You can clearly see a mosquito slowly flying past right in front of you. Just as you're still in shock, the system notification sounded again with a ding. The disease delivery system has been upgraded to version 2.0. Congratulations, the host's pathogenic constitution has been comprehensively enhanced, surpassing the average person by 10 times. Awakened the exclusive disease delivery skill, Phantom Flower Hand. Gained permanent access to 100 absorbed diseases. Upon hearing this, you couldn't help but feel delighted, thinking if this meant no karma deduction. If that were true, then he might just become a beacon of light for the city. Merit points are deducted accordingly. Additionally, the second round of merit completion amounts to 1,000 points. A reminder that this system is dedicated to promoting good deeds and virtuous actions. When the host's merit points fall below -100, it will negatively affect the host's physical condition. Hearing this, you felt helpless, and had no choice but to set aside the thoughts in your mind for now. At that moment, a voice from outside called out. It was AI Shosho saying, "Boss, someone is here looking for you." You assumed it was a customer, then stepped out. Came across a young man wearing a mask and a hat. He was nervously sitting on the couch. When he saw you coming out, the young man quickly pulled his hat further down, afraid that you might recognize him. Only then did he step forward and stammer, "Dr. Song." "Hello." Seeing this, your eyes narrowed slightly. A cold sneer formed in your mind. Thought wearing a mask would make you unrecognizable. The hideous faces you showed back in court. Even if you turned to ashes, you'd still be recognized. You casually sank into the couch, made yourself a cup of tea. Only then did you lazily glance at Wang Ning, pretending not to recognize him, and asked what this masked hero wanted from you. "I'd like to ask Dr. Song to examine me." Wang lowered his head slightly. In a faint voice, he said he would treat you. You pretended to be surprised. A masked hero. It seems there might be a mistake. This shop is a veterinary clinic. We only treat animals. We don't provide medical services for humans. For treatment, please visit a proper hospital. Hearing this, Wang Ming felt his face burning with embarrassment. But in the face of death, still forcing a smile, I pretended and said, but I heard others mention. Dr. Song is also capable of curing people. For just $100, he can treat all kinds of terminal illnesses. As long as you can cure me, I'm willing to pay you $200. No, make it $300. Wow, $300 is quite a lot. I guess I wouldn't be able to spend it all even in several lifetimes. You smiled. Why did you only charge $100 back then? Was it because curing those illnesses was only worth $100? Clearly not. Yet these people take your kindness for granted as if it's worthless, and even go so far as to resist in the end. Well, excuse me. I stood up after kneeling. You'll be left far behind. 500 works too. Wang Ming thought you felt it wasn't enough, then raised 5 fingers again and said. Just at that moment, a man came to pick up the orange cat left here. Dr. Song was truly grateful. Here's $1,000 as the medical fee. Please don't think it's too little. After saying that, he turned and walked away. Meanwhile, Wang Ming's 5 raised fingers froze mid-air. He could only feel the sting of embarrassment. Someone treated a cat and casually handed over $1,000. He is seeking treatment for kidney failure. Yet he naturally expects to spend only $500. You playfully took a sip of tea, without saying a word, just quietly watching like that. Dr. Song, I beg you, please have mercy and save me. I have been suffering from kidney failure and don't have much time left. I know you are kind-hearted. You surely wouldn't let someone die without helping. Wang Ming once again mustered the courage to plead. He even shed pitiful tears. However, seeing the other person acting so shamelessly, you decided to drop the pretense altogether, and directly confronted him, asking if I save you. Then you turn around and sue me, demanding compensation from me, and begging for your forgiveness. Is that what makes sense here? As the words fell, Wang Ming's face turned pale. I never thought you had seen through everything from the very beginning. At that moment, your teasing voice sounded again. To be honest, I really wanted to help you, but I've already been banned from practicing medicine. Look, the proof of the ban is hanging right there. I want to treat you, but being caught would be a crime punishable by death. You put on a look of helplessness. Wang Ming also noticed the prohibition order. His face burned even more with embarrassment. This ban exists in part because of his involvement. At this moment, a surge of overwhelming regret filled his heart. If only he hadn't accused you back then, would all of this have been avoided? Countless what-ifs flashed through Wang Ming's mind, but there are no what-ifs. The despairing Wang Ming walked out of the veterinary clinic like a lifeless shell. Yet at that very moment, a bold and fiery figure appeared. Righteous and indignant, he charged over from the other side. You cursed scoundrel, you're asking for it. Get out here right now. A spark lit up in Wang Ming's eyes. He immediately recognized Aunt Du. But Aunt Du, in her fit of anger, failed to recognize Wang Ming. He pushed her aside without hesitation, then stormed into the veterinary clinic wearing a hospital gown. Well, you heartless little wretch. So this is where you were hiding. You really made me search everywhere for you. The moment I walked into the store and saw you. Mrs. Du started yelling angrily, gasping for breath. Seeing this, you quietly took out your phone and called the police. Only then did you look at the old woman. Curiously, you asked where this crazy old lady came from. This is a veterinary clinic. We don't take in foul-mouthed old dogs like this. Hearing this, Mrs. Du's blood pressure immediately skyrocketed. You little brat. How dare you call me crazy? Watch me tear your mouth apart. With that, she tried to rush forward. Unfortunately, the next second her high blood pressure kicked in. Luckily, Du Dahai quickly reached out and steadied her. Then, with a cold glance at you, he said, Kid, you better watch your mouth. Oh, so you do know about that. Then you should be telling that old man over here. His words are far nastier than mine. They reek as if he had eaten something foul. Upon hearing this remark, Du Dahai's face darkened. He seemed about to say something, but you impatiently waved your hand. If you've got something to say, make it quick. Don't interfere with my business. How dare you bring that up? After gasping for air, Dudania finally composed herself. You go on a rant, spitting accusations everywhere. Back when you treated me, did you not fully cure me? Now I'm suffering from the same illness again, wasting more than $50,000 of hard-earned money. You not only owe me the over $100,000 I spent at the hospital, but also need to ensure I'm completely cured. Otherwise, I'll tear you apart and take you to court. Alright then, go ahead and sue me. You clap your hands. too lazy to argue. Trying to reason with this unreasonable woman is even more absurd than a scholar arguing with a soldier. But seeing your nonchalant expression, Mrs. Du instantly became furious. In the next moment, he turned into a hyperactive husky, wrecking everything around him like crazy, smashing things while threatening, "You little brat. Will you pay or not? If you don't compensate me, I'll wreck your shop." Seeing this, you leaned back on the sofa with a smile on your face. You even pointed out that there were some vases over there. "Go ahead and break them all. Those are the crafts you spent millions on." Mrs. Du wasn't about to back down. She went ahead and smashed the decorative vases on the highest shelves. She shattered every single one of them. By now, the crowd of onlookers had grown larger and larger. Mrs. Du immediately threw herself on the ground, making a scene and rolling around. "Oh no, someone's been killed. This shady store is giving people improper treatments. The charges are nothing but a complete scam. Come and check it out." The onlookers couldn't help but twitch their lips. Do they really think people are blind? However, Aunt Du had only been making a scene for a few minutes, when the sound of police sirens came from outside. Soon, 2 officers walked in. "Who called the police?" Seeing this scene, Aunt Du's expression changed slightly. She immediately got into character in a second. Got up from the ground and cried, "I called the police. I was the one who called the police. Officer, this scoundrel gave me reckless treatment and ended up causing me a terminal illness. He even swindled me out of all my money. I'm here to demand an explanation." Then he hit me. "Take a look at this. My hand is all swollen from being hit. You have to stand up for me." After saying that, Grandma Du immediately lay on the ground pretending to be dead. Upon seeing this, the 2 officers' expressions changed slightly. They quickly rushed her to the hospital. Her grandson, Du Dahai, also looked visibly shocked. Before getting in the car, he made sure to glare angrily at you. "Kid, if anything happens to my grandma, you'll pay for it. I'll make you regret it." At the same time, a police officer took photos for evidence and then looked at you. He said coldly, "Let's take a trip to the station." You gave a slight smile and said, "All right. Let me grab a few things first." You calmly retrieved a stack of documents from the rubble. Then you followed the officer. Not long after, in the interrogation room. "This is the surveillance footage. Take a look at it." You took out your phone and pulled up the entire surveillance recording. The police watched the bizarre events clearly captured in the footage. Their expression changed slightly. When they looked at you again, they even showed a hint of sympathy in their eyes. Then you pulled out a stack of documents. "These are the certificates for the smashed vase artworks. The total value has already exceeded 10 million. I expect compensation within 3 days. If not, according to the laws of Long Country, one can apply for mandatory sentencing enforcement." Meanwhile, in a hospital, Grandma Du was lying on the hospital bed pretending to be sick. "Oh no, my head hurts. Help me." But just as the police were stepping out, she immediately stopped humming. A sly grin spread across her face, as though her scheme had succeeded. "Grandma, are you all right?" Du Dahai exclaimed in surprise. "Lower your voice." Du Daniel quickly covered Du Dahai's mouth. Then she smiled triumphantly and said, "Now we don't have to worry about the medical expenses anymore. If that little brat doesn't cure my illness and pay me $1 million, I'll just stay here and make him pay for the rest of his life." Dahai Du, realizing what had happened, looked at his grandmother with admiration all over his face. "You're truly incredible." At that moment, a few police officers walked in. Grandma Du immediately lay down and started pretending to be pitiful. "Oh no, I feel like I'm about to die. Who will take pity on this poor old woman?" Dahai Du instantly got into character and began echoing her words. The police officers couldn't handle it anymore. Interrupted coldly with a sharp tone, saying it was enough. "Stop pretending, the case has already been solved." As soon as the result was announced, Grandma Du immediately perked up with excitement. "Officer, this time, that little brat. If he doesn't compensate me with $2 million, I will never forgive him." Hearing $2 million, Du Dahai got fired up too. "As long as I'm here, don't think you can take advantage of my grandma just because she doesn't know the law." Hearing this, several police officers' expressions darkened. They had encountered plenty of older people using their age as an excuse to act entitled. But this was the first time they had seen someone as outrageous as this elderly person. She extorted others, smashed up someone else's shop, and then demanded compensation to cover her medical expenses. "Ma'am, do you think the law belongs to your family?" The lead officer couldn't hold back anymore and questioned her in return. As he spoke, he directly pulled out the surveillance footage. The video plays with very loud sound. The visuals are extremely clear. It fully captured the entire scene of Grandma Du throwing a tantrum and rolling on the ground. Witnessing this moment, Grandma Du's face immediately changed color. She didn't respond to him. "I never expected you to install surveillance cameras. This is not the case, officer. Listen to me. Things are not how they seem. It's that little brat. He didn't fully treat my illness." Before he could finish denying it, he was interrupted by the police. The police cut him off before he could argue further. "All right, stop talking about it. The law is based on evidence. Don't just spout nonsense here." And Du was momentarily stunned. Where would he even get the evidence? "Fine, I won't press charges against him. Just forgive him already." Mrs. Du could only respond unwillingly. Hearing this, all the officers sneered in disbelief. "Apologies. You forgive others. But too bad they don't forgive you." An officer smirked and took out the legal document, announcing, "Mrs. Du, you are suspected of damaging someone else's property, along with compensation for mental distress, false accusations, and lost wages. A total of 12.5 million dragon coins. You are required to settle it within 3 days. Otherwise, we will legally seize all assets under your name and proceed with your arrest according to the law." The police's declaration was like a bolt from the blue for Grandma Du. "Why is it such a huge amount? This is slander on your part." Next to her, Du Dahai was also utterly shocked. At that moment, a police officer handed over a document, then began to speak. "The items your grandmother smashed were expensive handcrafted pieces. There is evidence for all of this. See for yourself." After reading through it, Du Dahai immediately collapsed to the ground. His lips turned pale as he looked toward Du Dame. "Grandma, Grandma." And from Du Dahai's expression, Du Dame instantly realized that it was all true. At that moment, he made up his mind. He unexpectedly grabbed the stack of documents and started tearing them apart and eating them. Seeing this, Du Dahai followed suit. He imitated him right away. And so, this bizarre scene unfolded. The two, a grandfather and grandson, began eating paper together. Several police officers tried to stop them but couldn't, so they simply gave up trying. However, there was too much paper, and they didn't have any water. After eating about 100 sheets, the grandmother and grandson really couldn't eat anymore. They started to gag. Upon seeing this, the officer looked exasperated and said to eat slowly. "Don't choke, these are just copies. You can have as many as you want." The grandmother and grandson immediately froze in place. But in the next moment, Grandma Du started throwing a tantrum again, using her shameless tactics. "Anyway, there's no money to give. A life hangs by a thread." Seeing this, the officer frowned and said to Ms. Du, "You are suffering from a terminal illness. We wouldn't do anything to harm you." Just as Ms. Du was about to feel relieved, the officer's next words completely shattered her. "But your grandson, Du Dahai, is your sole heir. And he is also an accomplice in this incident. He will bear full responsibility for everything that happened." Upon hearing this, Ms. Du's face instantly turned pale. "You can't take my precious one. It was all done by my eldest grandson. If there's an issue, take it out on me." That's right, Du Dahai is the only weakness of Du Daniu. But what greeted him was the officer's merciless handcuffs. Seeing this, Du Daniu scrambled to her feet in a panic, trying to stop it. But due to an excessively high heart rate, both high blood pressure and heart disease were triggered at the same time. Foaming at the mouth on the spot, her body convulsed briefly. It wasn't until half an hour later, the heart rate monitor flattened into a straight line. Du Dahai collapsed to the ground in despair. Unfortunately, what awaits him is a lifetime of stitching on a sewing machine. Meanwhile, in a 7-star hotel, you and Aixiashu are enjoying a lavish meal. Suddenly, your phone rings. You pick it up and answer Mr. Son's call. Your case has been accepted. But unfortunately, old Lady Du recently passed away suddenly from an illness, so her eldest grandson will repay all the debts on her behalf. All right, thank you. After hanging up the phone, he looked at AI Xiaoxiu indulging in food and drink. Xiaoxiu, what do you feel like doing? Tonight, it's on me. And so, after a wild night, tonight, I'll cover the bill. And just like that, after a wild night, in the following days, as you might have expected, with Wang Ming and Granny Du leading the way, The rest of the people couldn't resist coming to you for treatment. Some tried to guilt-trip you by playing the victim. Some offered money, hoping $3,000 would make you give in. There were even those claiming their relatives held important positions, and threatened to send you to jail if you refused to help. Faced with all this, you naturally responded with a cold smirk, watching the drama unfold. Back in court, you gave these people a chance, but all you got in return were false accusations and insults. And now they have the audacity to come back and demand a share. Is there any joke more absurd than this? As a result, they left in embarrassment and defeat. And this series of events was coincidentally witnessed by Wang Ming, who was hiding in the alley. As a result, he immediately pulled up the chat group where you were once accused together, and brought it back up. And then everyone with AI. The next day went just like this. You and little AI beast had just returned. Right after getting out of the car, a foul stench hit you straight in the face. Looking closely, you saw the entrance of the veterinary clinic piled high with feces, along with funeral wreaths, a sign saying "Die, Song," and another calling them a heartless scoundrel, wishing misfortune upon your entire family. If you don't treat us soon, we'll expose you to the public. Tear down your store. Curses and threats were scrawled all over the walls. How could they act like this? Ai Xiaoxiu was stunned by the scene in front of him. Terrified, he covered his mouth with his hands. Your gaze instantly turned icy cold. Originally, the plan was to let you fend for yourselves. Since you're looking for trouble, then I'll reluctantly send you on your way. The next day, just around noon, you and Ai Xiaoxiu were having lunch at the shop. A group of people suddenly swarmed in. It was those 18 patients. Did you receive the gift from the Song family? Consider this just a warning. If you still refuse to treat us, we'll keep coming back to trouble you. With a grand gesture, everyone turns their attention to you. Utterly arrogant and overbearing. Hearing this, you sigh and say fine. You've won. I will treat you. But not here. This is not the place. Where is it then? The crowd is stunned. Don't even think about running away, Song. You better cure us completely. Even in the afterlife, we won't let you off the hook. Hearing this, you pointed to the prohibition notice on the wall. I have already lost my medical license. Treating you in front of such a large crowd. Accused by someone. I might be sentenced to life in prison. At this moment, Wang Ming proposed an idea. Then let's make it at 6 p.m. At the Yellow Spring Pavilion in the Western Heaven Cemetery. There's no surveillance there. Completely safe. This way, you can always feel at ease. Hearing this, you immediately nodded in agreement. Just like that, at 5 p.m., you picked up the 3 piles of dog poop left by Wang Kai, scooped them into a plastic bag, and set off right away. Meanwhile, a group of patients at West Heaven Cemetery had been waiting here early. It was already 5 p.m. That jerk still hasn't shown up. Could he be messing with us on purpose? Wang Ming said impatiently. If he dares, I'll make him eat his words literally. Everyone expressed their anger vehemently. At that moment, a man, already emaciated from illness, suddenly had an idea. He started speaking. Attorney Jiang. If that guy named Song breaks the prohibition again this time, let him allow us to practice medicine. What would happen according to the contents of the ban? It wouldn't just result in a life sentence. It would also strip him of all his assets. And what about the person who reports it? How much reward would they receive? Someone asked with a greedy expression. Hearing this, Zhang Yichuan squinted and smiled. That would depend on the circumstances. If they report him as a victim, they could receive up to all of his assets. As soon as those words were spoken, everyone's eyes immediately lit up with curiosity. Just at that moment, you arrived carrying a plastic bag in your hand. Sorry about this, for keeping everyone waiting so long. I might need to share some bad news with you, because my previous clinic was shut down. Everything there was confiscated and destroyed as illegal property. Even the family's traditional prescriptions were lost. As soon as the words were spoken, everyone instantly went wild. Are you messing with us? Do you have a death wish? At this moment, you hurriedly raised the plastic bag in your hand. Everyone, stay calm. There's another piece of good news. I found 3 precious ancestral elixirs. Their effects are thousands of times better than the medicinal soup I gave you earlier. Far more effective by a staggering margin. All it takes is consuming one. No matter the terminal illness, it can be completely cured. Hearing this, the frenzied crowd instantly fell silent. But soon someone realized something was off. What do you mean? Just 3 pills. How are we supposed to divide them? There's nothing we can do, the formula is gone. These are the last of the medicine. You helplessly spread your hands. A spark of inspiration lit up in Xianji's eyes. He suggested, how about we do it this way? For today, let's just have 3 people try it. When I've figured it out someday, I'll prepare the medicine for all of you. Your words instantly caught everyone's attention. Each of them was eager to be the first to take it. At this moment, Jiang Yichuan, who was a lawyer, spoke up to remind them. Don't believe him, everyone. He is clearly trying to sow discord, hoping to make us turn against each other. Hearing this, a faint smile appeared on your lips. Truly worthy of being a top lawyer. Without a doubt, you've got the brains. But does this approach actually work? You immediately cleared your throat and called out loudly to Attorney Jiang. You have the highest authority here, so it's up to you to make the decision. The ownership of these 3 original treasure herbs. I trust you will be fair and just. After finishing, you gave a swift toss, throwing the plastic bag filled with Lucky's dog poop, hurling it outward. By sheer misfortune, it ended up hanging on a tree. The once united patients instantly fell apart. I'm gravely ill, let me eat first. Why should you eat first? I have a family too. Let me eat first. I have it too. A chaotic drama of human nature over dog poop unfolded right from this moment. In just a few minutes, several people had already been beaten to death. Meanwhile, the commotion here quickly caught the attention of many elderly people out for a walk. Young man, what's going on with them? I have no idea. It seems like they're fighting over that bag in the tree. You had an innocent look on your face. You pointed at the plastic bag hanging from the tree. Is there gold inside that plastic bag? Why are they fighting so intensely over it? Several elderly people looked completely puzzled. Stop fighting, all of you. You can talk it out calmly. One of the older men tried to step in to stop them, but he didn't even get close. Knocked out cold by a heavy blow to the head. Call the police quickly, someone's dead. Seeing this, you shook your head with a faint smile, quietly turned around and walked away, as if you had never been there. But after you left, the battle raged on without pause. In the end, it was Wang Ming who stood victorious. He went berserk, smashing the final competitor to death. Who else? Who else dares? This lunatic is absolutely insane. Run quickly, the onlookers were so frightened they kept backing away, seeing that no one was competing with him anymore. Only then did Wang Ming eagerly climb up the tree and grab those 3 pieces of dog feces in one swift move. Staring at the 3 foul-smelling pieces of dog feces in his hand, Wang Ming was stunned for a moment, but he quickly snapped out of it. Bitter medicine often works best. Yes, that must be it. The greedy Wang Ming had not the slightest doubt, and immediately stuffed 3 lumps of dog feces into his mouth, hoping only to cure his uremia. But in the next moment, because he ate too hastily, he ended up choking his throat. His eyes turned bloodshot as he struggled to swallow. But after bouncing a few times, he became completely motionless. Soon after, the incident of the spiritual essence from the Western paradise went viral online. A shocking event shook the spirit world of the West. 19 men and women fought to the death over 3 pieces of dog feces. Is this a collapse of morality? Or is it a distortion of human nature? At the same time, you had just finished grilling skewers with your friend Xiao Shou. You were on your way home. Suddenly, your face turned pale. You quickly hit the brakes and slowed down, because under the beam of your headlights, in the middle of the road ahead, a tall, slender figure was eerily standing there, dressed entirely in black attire meant for the night. Their features were indistinguishable. The only visible detail was a dagger glinting with a cold light. You narrowed your eyes slightly, calculating whether to hit the gas and ram forward. But in the next instant, it seemed they had read your thoughts. With a flick of the dagger in their hand, effortlessly punctured a car tire. With a loud bang, your heart trembled violently. Threw a knife by hand and punctured the tire. This is absolutely not something an ordinary person could achieve. But the moment you thought about your body being 10 times stronger than the average person, and possessing life-threatening, godlike skills, you barely managed to suppress the fear in your heart. Stepping out after opening the car door. Who are you, my boss? I'd like to invite you for a cup of tea. If you don't want trouble, you'd better behave. A cold and emotionless voice came from the person in black. In the next moment, he dashed toward you at full speed. That speed could rival that of a professional sprinter like Bolt. A thought suddenly emerged in your mind. However, who would go to such great lengths to hire a killer to capture them? Could it be that Wu Yashue and Lu Xiangfeng? As you were contemplating, the assassin in black was already closing in with a hand blade, aiming directly at your neck with the intent to strike, trying to knock you unconscious and take you away. At that moment, you made your move as well. Your hands moved so quickly they seemed like fleeting shadows, landing precisely on both sides of the opponent's lower back. Ding Chenggong delivered an acute kidney deficiency debuff, reducing merit by 2. In the next second, the man in black seemed to be completely drained in an instant. His legs suddenly gave out. He collapsed directly onto the ground. Seizing the moment, you acted quickly. You pinned the man in black to the ground. Then you ripped off his mask in one swift motion. A cascade of jet black hair instantly fell loose, revealing an icy, world-weary beauty. It turned out to be a woman. Shocked, you asked in disbelief, "Tell me who hired you. I could let you go." The assassin glared at you with a cold, defiant look. Then, with icy determination, she said, "Do whatever you want, whether it's killing or torturing me. Don't even think about getting a shred of information from me." "Oh, you said it yourself. In that case, I won't hold back." You started taking off your clothes right away. You walked behind him. "I've never heard such a request in my entire life. Satisfaction, it must be fulfilled completely and intensely." The female assassin, who just a moment ago appeared fearless in the face of death, suddenly panicked, her delicate body trembling, with even shimmering tears rolling down her cheeks. But her professional training kept her silent, until the sound of a belt being drawn echoed. Li Jia, the assassin, spoke in an icy tone. "As an assassin, you should hold your ground. How could you falter like this?" You smiled as you spoke. A glint of coldness flashed through your eyes right after. It was just a few days ago. An elderly man and his granddaughter walked into the funeral clothing shop. The granddaughter, Li Menglin, immediately said she had watched that live-stream trial, and even called you an immoral fraud. As for the grandfather, Li Deshang, he claimed he was the secret mastermind behind the Li Cheng Tobacco Corporation. Back then, his son had been diagnosed with a hereditary family disease. It was you who cured him. Now, his granddaughter has been diagnosed with that hereditary disease. They hope you'll step in to treat her again. Without hesitation, you turned them down. First, you have been issued a permanent medical ban. You are no longer allowed to practice medicine in Long Country for the rest of your life. Second, back when you were in trouble, others found it too risky to offend certain people. The Lu Pharmaceutical Group's stance was understandable. But as for Li Zhongquan from the Li Cheng Tobacco Group, but they chose to turn a blind eye. Of course, you wouldn't resort to moral coercion. But now, there's no one who can be coerced. All you can say is, all of this is simply the result of their own choices. What you didn't expect was, he actually sent assassins to capture you. From this perspective, it must be that wealthy heiress Li Menglin's doing. The situation is not looking optimistic. But what does this have to do with you? It's easy to imagine. If you were really captured by the Li family, would you still have the right to refuse at that point? For the first time, you experienced a hidden side of this society. Next, you dragged the female assassin to the basement of the villa, then tied her up with an iron chain as thick as a wrist. At the same time, inside a luxurious, vintage-style manor, Li Menglin was dressed in a hospital gown, lying on an imported medical bed. Her body was connected to various medical devices. Her delicate face was pale. She appeared to be enduring some extreme pain. The next moment, there was a sudden splatter. Blood abruptly gushed out from Li Menglin's nose and mouth. The doctors on the scene showed a slight change in expression, and immediately began skillfully administering blood-stopping and transfusion procedures. Li Deshang, standing nearby, looked heartbroken. But there was nothing that could be done. The genetic disorder in the Li family. The chance of developing it is less than 1 in 1,000. And unfortunately, Li Menglin is not only that 1 in 1,000. She also has the most severe case in history. Grandpa, sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm in unbearable pain. Please save me," Li Menglin cried desperately. She looked at the grandparent who loved her the most, Li Deshang. He held Li Menglin's cold, pale hand tightly with a heart full of pain. "Menglin, don't be afraid. Grandpa has already gone to get the doctor. You'll be treated very soon." Only when facing Li Menglin, the man who controls 70% of the tobacco revenue in Longhua, Would he rarely shed a tear? After comforting Li Menglin, Li Deshang left the intelligent medical room. He turned his head to look at a bodyguard standing behind him. "How is the task I assigned to you coming along?" The bodyguard's expression shifted slightly. "Everything has been done according to the old master's instructions. The hired assassin has been contacted. However, there has been no news from the assassin so far. I suspect the person might have taken the money and disappeared." "That's impossible," Li De firmly rejected the idea. When it comes to the credibility of this assassin organization, he still had complete trust in them. After all, the two sides have always collaborated. It's unlikely they would jeopardize their relationship over a mere 1 million dragon coins. They wouldn't risk losing such an important client. Li Deshang's brows furrowed slightly. Suddenly, something came to mind. His expression changed involuntarily. Right at that moment, Li Menglin's older brother, Li Jiaming, approached. He came to inform that Xia, the granddaughter of the Xi family, was here to see him. Li Deshang of the Xi family narrowed his aged eyes slightly. It instantly became clear what the visitors from the Xi family wanted. The current state of the real estate industry. The news of Tianbang had already shaken the entire Dragon Nation. Without hesitation, Li Deshang made his decision. Waving his hand, he said to simply explain that he was feeling unwell, and expressed his inability to receive guests. However, Li Jiaming did not leave. Instead, he continued, saying the other party claimed to have a way to cure his sister. Upon hearing this, Li Deshang's pupils immediately dilated. After a brief moment of contemplation, he said coldly, "Go ahead and call him over." The old man wanted to see for himself what methods he might have. Before long, they were inside an extravagant reception hall. Li Deshang got straight to the point. "I heard you have a way to treat my granddaughter." Xia shook her head honestly. "I don't have one. But I can recommend an extraordinary doctor to you. His medical skills are mysterious and exceptional. He should be able to cure Menglin." "Another miracle doctor. Why don't you explain it? What method will this miracle doctor use to cure?" Upon hearing the term miracle doctor, Li Deshang was already indifferent, because over the past few days, he had been seeking ways to cure Li Menglin. Renowned miracle doctors from both home and abroad had already been consulted. But in the end, it was all in vain. This person's treatment method is also quite unique. I have no idea what method he might use. However, I once suffered from a severe heart condition. It was cured by him using a unique technique. Xia expressed sincerely. Li Jiaming also intended to speak on Xia's behalf. "Grandpa, my sister's current condition is far from optimistic. Let that person give it a try. It could provide my sister with an additional glimmer of hope." But Li Deshang still frowned and asked, "What's his name?" Songbing Xia answered truthfully. Hearing this name, Li Deshang's expression changed slightly. "He can be invited to take action." Xia nodded slightly, then gritted her teeth and said, "However, I have an unreasonable request. I need a 200 billion investment." Li Deshang smiled, but it was a cold smile. "Kid, who would have thought someone so young like you could already master the art of making outrageous demands? Do you really think 200 billion is even a possibility? Do you think I couldn't hire that Songbing for just $1 billion? Due to certain reasons, the renowned Dr. Song has now chosen to retire, and has made a promise to never practice medicine again. So even if it's just 1 billion, or even 200 billion, you still wouldn't be able to convince him. If you don't believe me, you can give it a try yourself." Xia responded calmly. Of course, there was a bit of a gamble in what he said. "Since that's the case, then what makes you think you can convince him?" Li Deshang sneered as he spoke, feeling a wave of embarrassment inside, because he had already tried to invite him, and indeed, he wasn't able to succeed. At this moment, Xia pulled out a piece of paper. "Because of this, I once had the opportunity to assist Dr. Song during a time of trouble. Afterward, he gave me 3 slips of paper, and promised that I could use them to request his help 3 times in the future." Li Deshang looked at Xia, holding those seemingly insignificant scraps of paper in his hand. He stayed silent for a moment, but eventually said okay. "Then I'll give you one chance." Meanwhile, on the other side, Tianfu Villa. You are standing on the 3rd floor deck, planning to perform a challenging diving move, when the doorbell rings unexpectedly. You glance downward, and catch sight of the front door, where a woman dressed in a black business suit stands. At the same time, she seems to sense something, and notices you preparing to dive. Her gaze fixed on your toned, fair-skinned physique. At first glance, he thought he had seen it wrong. Her cheeks quickly turned red. She hurriedly averted her gaze. Because the way you look now has changed so much. It's as if you've undergone some kind of transformation. Not long after, in the living room, you sat on the sofa and asked Miss Sia, "What brings you to me?" Sia hesitated for a moment, but eventually admitted, "To be honest, I came here this time to see Mr. Song. I want to ask for your help to save someone." You are not surprised by this. A wealthy heiress like Sia, suddenly coming to see you alone. You wouldn't flatter yourself into thinking she likes you. Who is it? Just say it directly. Sia is unaware of the grudge between you and the Li family. So she said seriously, "The Li family's heiress." Li Menglin reacted upon hearing this. Your smile instantly disappeared. But you still agreed. Then you drove towards the Li family estate. At the same time, the Li family estate, the Lu family's top-tier genetic disease medical team, had already arrived. The chief physician was named Lu Haixue. He returned from studying abroad 2.5 years ago, and has since earned recognition as a multidisciplinary expert. At this moment, under the leadership of Lu Haixue, 12 medical staff gathered around the hospital bed, conducting a thorough examination of Li Menglin on the bed. Finally, Lu Haixue confidently administered a homemade medication to Li Menglin. Right at that moment, you and Sia also arrived here. At first glance, you spotted Li Deshang. Your expression immediately changed. Toward the old man who had hired an assassin to capture you, your impression was far from positive. It could even be described as bad. And you could feel the coldness in your gaze. Li Deshang's brows furrowed. He was clearly displeased. What made him even more upset was that, as the leader of the Li Corporation, he had humbled himself to invite you personally, only to be met with a closed door. And now here you are, following Sia. If this isn't a slap in his face, then what is? And so, he said in a cold tone that Dr. Song might have to wait for a while. At this moment, Meng Lin is currently under the care of a professional medical team. He emphasized the word professional heavily. If Lu Shuihai can cure his granddaughter, he will not hesitate to kick you out. About half an hour later, Lu Shuihai, dressed in professional medical attire, walked out. Li Deshang eagerly stepped forward to ask about Dr. Lu's condition. Hearing this, Lu Shuihai confidently assured him, "Mr. Li, rest easy. Your daughter is now out of danger. With a few more treatment sessions, she will make a full recovery." Hearing these words, Li Deshang's aged body trembled with emotion. Are these words truly reliable? Of course, they are absolutely true. For the past 2.5 years, my team and I have been dedicated to studying the genetic disease in your family. The treatment developed nowadays is specifically designed to address this illness. It is tailored precisely to combat this particular disease. Lu Shuihai confidently expressed his assurance. All right, old man. Let me express my gratitude to Divine Dr. Lu here and now. Regarding the joint venture to expand your Lu family's hospital, my Li Group has decided to invest 500 billion. Li Deshang burst into hearty laughter. He immediately promised to collaborate with the Lu family. On the side, Sia overheard their conversation. Her expression subtly shifted. She had a bad feeling about what was coming. And sure enough, the next moment, Li Deshang turned his head and looked at Sia, coldly addressing her as girl. You saw it yourself. Right now, Meng Lin is already receiving professional treatment from Dr. Lu's team. There's no need for some useless so-called miracle doctor anymore. So the contract we discussed earlier is now void. Grandpa Li, your complexion has turned pale. Still trying to push forward. But Li Deshang waved dismissively at Jiaming. Escorting the guest, Li Jiaming's eyes flickered. Yet he stepped forward and said, "Please, both of you, come with me." Sioa's body trembled violently. It was as if she had been struck by lightning. Nie frowned slightly. She glanced at Li Menglin, who was lying on the hospital bed. Her expression carried a hint of concern. Since the system upgrade, there's no need to rely on touch. You can roughly assess the patient's condition. At this moment, Li Menglin appears calm, but her internal state is like a ticking time bomb. So you kindly reminded the head of the Li family not to handle everything so harshly. Her granddaughter's condition could relapse at any moment. You suggested that it would be better for you to intervene. Upon hearing these words, Lu Shuihai let out a laugh. Then he looked at you with disdain. May I ask, young man, which prestigious school you graduated from? And what professional certifications you hold. You came here empty-handed, without even wearing a proper outfit. Anyone unaware might think you were here to beg for food. If I'm not mistaken, you don't even have a medical license, do you? Li Desheng was equally displeased. Looking at you, they mocked you as being arrogant and overconfident. They acted as if no one else mattered. Someone like you dares to think you're worthy of associating with me? The two members of the Li family worked together seamlessly. You couldn't help but laugh out of anger. Impressive, truly living up to the name of a wealthy and noble family. Let's hope the Li family head can continue to maintain such arrogance. After saying that, you turned around and left with Xia in frustration. Lu Shuai watched as Xia and you were driven away. A cold smirk appeared at the corner of his mouth. As for Jia's situation, he had already understood it thoroughly. And as for you, he knows you even better. So, without realizing it, he ended up achieving another success. Thinking of this, Lu Shuai's smile grew even wider in his heart. Suddenly, Li Desheng's voice broke the silence. Dr. Lu, may I go see Meng Lin? Of course you can. Follow me, please. Lu Shuai and Li Desheng arrived at Li Menglin's bedside. They stood by Li Menglin's hospital bed. His current vital signs are very stable. Within a maximum of 7 days, we can have him fully recovered. Lu Shuai assured confidently from the side. Menglin, did you hear that? Dr. Lu says it will only take 7 days to get you back to health. Li Desheng trembled as he held Li Menglin's small hand. Tears streaming down his face, he spoke. It seemed as though Li Menglin had sensed Li Desheng's affection. Her cold little hand suddenly trembled slightly. Li Desheng was overjoyed immediately. He could hear it. Lu Shuai smiled as he used his professional knowledge to explain. In the very next moment, before the two could even finish smiling, Li Menglin suddenly opened her eyes. A mouthful of fresh blood sprayed onto Li Desheng's face. Lu Shuai froze for a moment. Immediately realizing the situation, they quickly tried to stop the bleeding. The medical team rushed forward without delay. But soon, from the hospital bed, came Li Menglin's heart-wrenching cries of pain. Grandpa, just end my life. I don't want to live anymore. Li Desheng was struck as if by lightning. Meanwhile, sweat started pouring down Lu Shuai and his team's faces. Because they suddenly realized that they couldn't even stop the bleeding now. That doesn't seem right. The scene instantly descended into chaos. Upon witnessing this, Li Desheng felt as if he had been struck by lightning. Fortunately, he was supported by the arriving Li Jiaming. Grandpa, are you okay? When he saw Li Jiaming, Li Desheng finally snapped back to reality. He hastily asked, "Where is Dr. Song?" Hearing this, Li Jiaming hesitated and replied, I just drove him away. As soon as the words were spoken, there was a sharp sound. Li Desheng harshly slapped Li Jiaming across the face. Who told you to drive him away? Li Jiaming was left completely stunned by the slap. Yes. Grandpa, you. Li Desheng froze in place. Then he grabbed Li Jiaming by the sleeve. His voice trembling as he said, "Hurry up and go. Invite them back. Hurry up." And meanwhile, the head of the Li family estate calmly asked, "How much money does your Xi family need?" "At least 400 billion. Xia gave a self-deprecating smile. "Maybe this is just the fate of my Xi family." You remained silent. Took the initiative to drive. However, just as the two of you were about to drive away, a group of people hurriedly chased after you. Leading them was none other than Li Jiaming. "Please wait, esteemed doctors. My grandfather would like to invite you to check on my sister again." Hearing this, Xia's beautiful eyes immediately lit up. But then she thought about the vile expression on Li Desheng's face earlier. He clenched his teeth and chose to remain silent. He looked over at you. You, on the other hand, had a mischievous look on your face as you recalled how they just drove us out. Now they're calling us back again. Don't you think this is a bit ridiculous? Go back and tell Li Desheng. Make sure he understands one thing. He was the one who invited me to treat the illness. It wasn't me begging to come here. Now, forget about signing a $500 billion contract. Even if it's $1 trillion, I would never set foot in the Li family again. After hearing those words, James Li's expression turned cold as well. He lowered his voice and threatened Dr. Song. "I urge you to consider the bigger picture. Don't ruin everything just for a moment of satisfaction. Throwing away such a bright future would be a terrible mistake. How dare a mere doctor speak about his grandfather like that?" However, the only response he got was the accelerator under your foot. James Li was so frightened he fell to the ground. He immediately yelled angrily, telling everyone to stand up. "What are you looking at? Get moving and follow me." On the other side of the car, you pulled out your phone and made a call. "Dear Mr. Song Bing, is there anything you need assistance with?" Soon, from the other end of the phone, came a voice with an English accent. It was Herbert. "Mr. Herbert, I would really like to ask for your help. Can we meet up?" "Absolutely." Herbert immediately sent over the location of a hotel. You drove straight there. You arrived at the destination quickly. By then, Herbert was already waiting at the entrance. He greeted you warmly with excitement. However, Sia suddenly opened her mouth in shock, because the foreigner standing before her resembled the face of a global billionaire, fitted together seamlessly. A founding oil tycoon, ranked third on the world's billionaire list. Herbert's personal net worth is $900 billion. 2 hours later, you and Sia were escorted by Herbert and left the hotel. For Sia, this banquet felt like a dreamlike experience. That's right, Herbert agreed to collaborate with Sia, still willing to invest $20 billion all at once. And all of this is because of you standing right here? At that moment, the phone started ringing. Sia took out her phone. It was a call from Li Jiaming. He hesitated for a moment, but eventually answered it. "Miss Sia, thank goodness, you finally picked up. My grandfather mentioned the collaboration can still be discussed further. Please help persuade Dr. Song." On the other end of the phone, Li Jiaming's anxious voice quickly came through. The next moment, Sia politely declined the substitute. "I thanked Mr. Li and told him I already secured the investment." No need to finish the sentence. Sia immediately ended the call. She decisively blocked the number. You looked at this strong-willed woman with some surprise. "Actually, if you were to take out another note, I might still make a move. This visit to the Li family, I already feel like I've let you down a lot. How could I possibly let you endure a second round of frustration?" Sia was filled with guilt. Of course, there was actually another reason too. He suddenly realized that these 3 notes were exceptionally valuable. The future value would be immeasurable. Naturally, he wasn't willing to waste a second one. Hearing this, you gave a slight smile. You didn't say anything further. But through the rearview mirror, you noticed several cars closely following behind. Your eyes narrowed slightly. At the same time, in the Li family estate, Li Jiaming angrily called out to his grandfather. This guy refuses to drink the toast. Instead, he opts for punishment while Gao Chang and the others keep following him. Why not just grab him directly and be done with it? Hearing this, a shadow crossed Li Deshang's eyes. In a secluded place, act only when the time is right. Meanwhile, on the other side, a group of Li family bodyguards, having received the news, quickly closed in. Seeing this, Sia panicked and fumbled for her phone to call the police. You spoke calmly. Before the useless words had fully settled, 3 cars seized the opportunity to surround and trap you, forcing you to stop on the side of the road. Then, 10 burly men in suits stepped out. Sia was so frightened her face turned pale. Just as he was at a loss for what to do, your deep voice rang in his ears. "Stay in the car." He turned his head to look. You had already opened the car door and stepped out. "Mr. Song, please come with us," the tall head bodyguard said coldly. You calmly looked at these bodyguards. "What if I refuse? Then we'll have no choice but to offend you." The leading bodyguard gave a cold wave of his hand. Everyone instantly charged toward you. They moved with incredible speed. Their actions were sharp and precise. Each one of them was clearly well trained. Yet in your eyes, it seemed pathetically slow. The corners of your mouth lifted slightly. It moved equally fast. The street echoed with the cries of 10 bodyguards. Inside the car, the previously tense and hoarse gazes fixed ahead. One covered their small mouth with an expression full of disbelief. In just one short day, you had already shaken his heart countless times. In no time, the 10 bodyguards were dealt with and sent back by you. Let Li Deshang know. To get treated, he should first prepare a consultation fee of 500 billion. Then personally come to ask for my help. Given that woman's condition, if the treatment isn't supplemented by 4 p.m. tomorrow, even a celestial deity descending to earth wouldn't make a difference. Of course, he could also hire assassins to try to catch me again. I'm always ready to deliver the illness back. Leaving behind a cold remark, you turned around and got into the car, walked away without looking back. Not long after, at the Li family estate, Li Deshang gazed at Li Manglin, who lay on the bed, pale and lifeless. Aside from the heartache, there was an overwhelming sense of guilt, regretting that he had just believed Lu Shuahai's deceitful words, and drove Li Lang away. Rest assured, just give us a few more days. We will definitely uncover the root of the problem. Standing nearby, Lu Shuahai's face was drenched in sweat. Guaranteed, but the tone noticeably lacks the initial confidence. The tone clearly carried less of the confidence it had at first. Upon hearing this, Li Deshang's face was filled with rage. I'll give you a few more days. Do you think this is some kind of experiment? Do you really think my granddaughter is in this condition now? How many more days do you think she has left to live? Lu Shuahai's face turned ashen. He was left completely speechless. At this moment, Li Jiaming came to report to his grandfather. Gao Chang and his team have returned. Li Deshang stood there like a statue. He quickly stepped outside, only to see 10 bodyguards supporting each other, looking completely disheveled. Seeing this, Li Deshang's face darkened. What exactly happened? Is someone being sent to the hospital? Gao Chang and the 9 bodyguards all lowered their heads in lingering fear. He is a true expert. None of us are a match for him. As soon as the words fell, Li Deshang and Li Jiaming stood there as if struck by lightning. He was defeated while being unwell. 10 bodyguards from the Li family. How is that even possible? A bunch of useless fools. One useless person managing to take on all 10 of you. Do you think this is some kind of movie? What's the point of the Li family keeping you around? Li Jiaming, furious, stepped forward and started punching and kicking the bodyguards. But he was immediately stopped by Li Deshang. At the same time, he asked if he had said anything. He said he wanted to. He acted again, asking the master to prepare $500 billion in full, and to personally bring the young lady to seek medical help. As soon as Gao Chang finished speaking, the entire scene fell silent instantly. Li Jiaming laughed in anger. Does this country bumpkin even know what $500 billion means? Did he think it was ghost money? Does he expect us to personally beg him? Is he even worthy on the contrary? Li Deshang, however, appeared much calmer. He continued asking, is there anything else? He also mentioned that the young lady's condition has worsened. If not treated by 4 p.m. tomorrow, even a deity descending wouldn't be able to save her. As soon as these words were spoken, the enraged Li Jiaming instantly fell silent. Li Deshang's hand gripping the cane was trembling uncontrollably. Just a moment ago, you mentioned that Li Manglin's illness would relapse. He didn't believe it, and this led to the current situation. Does he still dare to doubt now? At this moment, Gao Chang swallowed hard. Hesitant to speak, he cautiously said. He also mentioned that if the master still intends to hire assassins to capture him, he's ready to face them anytime. The moment the words were spoken, the cane in Li Deshang's hand suddenly dropped. The murderous intent in his eyes was instantly overshadowed by shock. The inexplicably vanished assassin Sia. The successfully signed contract. The 10 bodyguards who were completely overpowered. Connecting this series of events together made this powerful family patriarch immediately harbored deep doubts about your identity. Are you really just an ordinary person at the bottom of society, about to be hit by the car in the next second? Li Deshang calmly spoke up. Hearing this, Li Jiaming's face was full of shock. Grandpa, you're not seriously planning to personally beg that country bumpkin, are you? Lu Shuahai, who was eavesdropping in the room, quickly stepped forward as well. That guy Li Lao is nothing but a con artist. Not long ago, he was reported and taken to court. You absolutely must not fall for his smooth-talking tricks. But what responded to them was, it was Li Deshang's assertive tone that left no room for doubt. Hit by the car just like that. Shortly afterward, several luxury cars pulled up in front of the veterinary clinic. Then Li Deshang stepped out of the medical vehicle. The renowned physician Sia. Young lady, this old man apologizes for the poor hospitality at the Li household earlier. To express my apologies to you. Li Deshang finally set aside his arrogance and bowed to the two of you. Of course, it's hard to say whether it's sincere or not. Seeing this, Li Jiaming's expression changed drastically. Grandpa, what are you doing? How are they even worthy? Similarly, Sia's face slightly changed. Clearly, this was unexpected. The esteemed power behind the Li Corporation actually came in person to bow and apologize. Meanwhile, you casually sat on the couch, watching as the ride caused some bumps. Li Manglin occasionally showed a pained expression. With a face full of apology, she addressed the head of the Li family. Please don't think I'm being unkind. It's just that the standards for nobility are exceedingly high. I truly can't measure up to them." Upon hearing this, Li Desheng could only feel his face burning with embarrassment. How could he not realize? You're mocking what he said earlier in the day. But for the sake of his granddaughter, he still waved his hand. The bodyguard nearby immediately presented a global bank card. "This card contains 5 billion dragon currency. As long as Dr. Song can cure my granddaughter, this card will be yours. Additionally, my Li family is willing to invest another 200 billion privately." Looking at the global bank card, Li Jiaming's face was filled with pain. He even glared at you with resentment. Meanwhile, Lu Shuihai stood nearby, full of envy. Getting treated for an illness. 1 billion dragon coins. What an incredible show of wealth. But under the watchful gaze of the crowd, you picked up that bank card, and in the next moment tossed it into the trash like it was garbage. Then, with a cold tone, you spoke to the head of the Li family. "Is age catching up with you, making you forget things? What I asked for was 500 billion. When did 2 zeros go missing? Kid, don't let your greed get the best of you. Here's 500 billion for you. Can you even handle that much?" Li Jiaming was furious. The group of bodyguards looked visibly hostile. They seemed ready to make a move at any moment. Li Desheng's aged eyes were deep and piercing. After a brief silence, he said coldly, "Young friend Song, 50 billion plus an additional 200 billion in investments is already more than enough. It's better not to push things too far in anything. Otherwise, it could happen in the very next moment." Your lazy voice echoed, mentioning 500 billion. "If you're even a bit off, get out. Kick them out if you feel like it. Shout whenever you want. Today, you're going to show these elite families exactly how valuable you truly are." Li Desheng was so furious that his entire body trembled. A person from the very bottom with no connections actually dared to humiliate him like this. But in the end, he gritted his teeth and finally spoke up. "I can only offer 300 billion of it. It can only be offset using shares from some of the companies under the Li family, as compensation through stocks." Li smiled faintly and nodded. 500 billion is an astronomical amount. Even for a prestigious family like the Li family, it's impossible to come up with it so easily. And so, an hour later, a contract was delivered. But the one who signed it wasn't you. It was Sia instead. At this moment, he only felt like he was dreaming. In just one day, not only did he secure a $200 billion contract from Herbert, the third richest person in the world, but he also gathered a contract worth 200 billion. And now, he has even secured 500 billion in funding. All of this was simply because of a promise you once made on a piece of paper. And that very piece of paper. He still has 2 cards left. Is Dr. Song ready to make his move now? Li Desheng said in a deep voice. Today, his old face has been completely humiliated by you. This should do it. After speaking, you stood up from the couch with a smile. You walked over to Li Menglin. Then, under the watchful eyes of everyone, you first touched the center of Li Menglin's forehead with a mysterious gesture. Without the slightest hesitation, ripped off the pile of equipment connected to Li Menglin. What's the point of dealing with this idiot? These are life support devices. Without these devices, Miss Menglin will soon be in critical danger. Lu Shuihai was shocked and horrified. He tried to step forward, but in the next moment, he was frozen in place by your glare. Are you going to treat her or should I? Hearing these words, Lu Shuihai's face darkened with a somber expression. I'm curious to see how you'll handle this. Under the tense gaze of everyone present, Li Menglin, who had been weak and unconscious, amazingly opened her eyes as if by a miracle, and showed no signs of sudden blood vomiting. The astonishing scene made everyone's heart skip a beat. Even Lu Shuihai, who had been waiting to watch the drama unfold, was left frozen in place. Menglin, are you feeling all right? Li Desheng eagerly stepped forward to ask. Li Menglin spoke with great difficulty. Grandpa, it hurts. Ha, did you see that? You incompetent doctor. Miss Menglin is clearly not better. Lu Shuihai immediately demanded an explanation, wishing to humiliate you on the spot. Upon hearing this, you rudely scolded. What nonsense are you barking about? Am I starting to heal? How dare you insult me? Lu Shuihai's face turned red with anger. He is a respected expert in every field. Yet he was insulted by a young kid who barely knows anything, being compared to a barking dog. Li Desheng also responded angrily, saying that Dr. Song should hurry up. Stop letting my granddaughter suffer any longer. No, Grandpa. I don't want this fraud to treat me. He's nothing more than a veterinarian. Don't let him touch me. The moment I heard it was up to you to treat yourself. The frail Li Manglin immediately showed strong resistance. In the end, it was Li Deshang who spent a long time comforting her. It took a lot of effort to get this stubborn little princess to agree. Let me make it clear first, during my treatment process, no interruptions of any kind are allowed. Especially barking dogs. Otherwise, if anything goes wrong, you will have to take full responsibility. You left behind a warning. Only then did you push Li Manglin into the operating room. Before long, inside the operating room, keep your eyes and hands in check. If you dare to look or touch inappropriately, I'll make sure my grandfather takes care of you. From the hospital bed, Li Manglin threatened coldly. But hearing that, you gave a wicked smile. What a coincidence, this surgery not only requires looking, but also touching, especially given your current condition. It has to be from head to toe. As the words fell, Li Manglin's frail body trembled instantly. No, I don't want you to touch me. Your whole body is covered in germs. Get away. Li Manglin was so frightened she started crying, like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. She looked pitiful and helpless. However, you paid no attention. In the brief moment he was stunned. He had already started touching her. You just placed both hands on Li Manglin's cold and delicate jade-like feet to examine the illnesses affecting the human body. A rare terminal hemorrhage. A hereditary disease. Disease level classified as grade 2. Absorbing and healing increases by 100 points. Virtue. A series of unprecedented information emerges in your mind. Even diseases can have levels assigned to them. Wait, those terminal illnesses I absorbed earlier. Diseases like cancer and AIDS didn't even reach level 2. Could the severity of a disease also influence its classification level? A series of questions popped into your mind. Let go of my foot. You pervert. Li Manglin's faint voice of cursing snapped you back to reality. You glance at Li Mangling in front of you again. Your eyes light up, as if you've just encountered a god of wealth. 100 points of merit. You immediately stopped hesitating. Jumped straight into action. Ah, no. You scoundrel. Let me go now. Li Mangling twisted her delicate body, showing strong resistance. But soon her voice grew increasingly alluring. Her once pale and colorless face gradually turned flushed. Your hands feel as if they carry some kind of magic. Wherever they press, the pain caused by illness vanishes completely, replaced by an unprecedented sense of relief. This stark contrast between heaven and hell instantly made Li Manglin feel as if she was floating on air, bringing an exhilarating sensation like soaring into the clouds. He immediately stopped resisting, even taking the initiative to turn over and cooperate with you. At the same time, outside the operating room, everyone listened to the strange noises coming through the door. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Everyone froze until Lu Shuihai was the first to react. Listen, just listen. What on earth is this brute doing? How can treating a patient produce such sounds? This is nothing short of an insult to the medical profession. Li Deshang and Li Jiaming's faces were equally grim. But when they recalled your earlier warning, they hesitated for a moment. What if it really is about treating an illness? Sayazul's ears on one side felt a little warm. It reminded him of the times you treated him before. It seemed like he couldn't help but make similar sounds back then. Not long after that, when you gave Li Manglin 2 sinus treatments. Li Manglin, who had been lost in ecstasy, suddenly looked confused. She opened her eyes and hurriedly checked her body, afraid that you might have done something inappropriate to her. But soon she suddenly realized. It seems like nothing happened. Li Manglin's gaze toward you has changed. It really was you who cured me. But wasn't the verdict announced during the livestream trial that day? Are you just a fraud? The law is supposed to represent justice. How could justice possibly result in a wrongful judgment? What do you think? You let out a cold laugh. You couldn't be bothered to say more. He immediately turned around and walked away. Just as the door swung open, Lu Shuihai aggressively approached to confront him. You liar. What did you do to Miss Li? You unceremoniously slammed him against the wall. Get out of the way if you know what's good for you. You've been tolerating this idiot for far too long. Lu Shuihai was left dumbfounded. His head was buzzing and spinning. By the time he realized what was happening and was about to lose his temper, Li Manglin stepped out from behind you. That's right, she just walked right out. An infuriated Lu Shuihai froze in place instantly. His eyes widened in disbelief. Song Bing actually managed to cure Li Menglin. How could this be possible? They had so many experts researching together for such a long time, and still couldn't overcome the challenge. What gave this guy the ability to solve it? The next moment, Lu Shuihai's face twisted with rage. It must be fake, it has to be fake. This illness can't possibly be cured this quickly. Let me take a look. Lu Shuihai, unwilling to accept it, rushed forward. He didn't even care that Song Bing was scolding him harshly. Everyone, full of doubt, called for the team to bring in the equipment. Right there, they carefully and repeatedly examined Li Menglin. He simply couldn't believe it. That Li Menglin's illness had been cured just like that. Throughout the process of taking the patient, he arrived completely empty-handed. That so-called operating room was merely equipped with basic facilities for pets. Could it be that he truly cured the illness with just his bare hands? And now he's awarded as some kind of specialist. Doctors might as well quit their jobs. In response, Li Deshang did not refuse. Naturally, he had to ensure that Li Menglin was genuinely cured, and not end up like before again. Before long, Lu Shuihai, who was conducting the examination, showed visible disbelief on his face. His face showed a look of utter shock. How could this be possible? How is that even possible? Staring at the instrument displaying all the healthy indicators, Lu Shuihai's face turned ashen. He looked as if he had just swallowed something revolting. And this reaction confirmed one thing. Song Bing had truly cured Li Menglin. His illness has been completely eradicated by me. However, he will still need medication for further recovery. Song Bing interrupted the stunned Lu Shuihai. What kind of medicine is needed? Please tell us, Dr. Song. Li Deshang quickly asked. Have him take the bile of a specific animal daily. Continue this treatment for exactly 81 days. Only then will he fully recover. Remember, it cannot be diluted with anything. It must first taste bitter and then turn sweet. Song Bing smiled faintly as he spoke. Li Deshang froze in place. Grandpa, please don't. I don't want to endure the bitterness of gallbladder. Li Menglin's pale little face quickly shook her head in protest. He had spent his entire life shielded by the Li family. He indulged in all kinds of wealth and luxury. He had never experienced any form of hardship, let alone eating something as unpleasant as gallbladder. Song Bing's lips curled slightly into a smile, gazing at the pampered little princess. It's fine if you don't eat. If the illness relapses, it could lead to blood gushing from all 7 orifices. Li Menglin's body trembled slightly, facing Song's indifferent words. She instantly dared not speak further. The transaction with the Li family head has been completed. It's getting late now. This humble abode is quite simple, so I won't keep you any longer. Song Bing glanced over at Li Deshang and the others. He smiled as he saw them off. Li Deshang gave Song Bing a deep look. A trace of complexity appeared in his cloudy old eyes. A thought flashed through his mind. What if he had let Li Zhongping step in to help Song Bing back then? How different would the outcome have been? But in his eyes, there was no such thing as what if. There was only gain and loss. Jiaming went home. He didn't say much. Li Deshang left with Li Menglin. Li Jianming gave Song Bing a cold glare. Only then did he reluctantly lead the group of bodyguards to follow. Seeing this, Song Bing frowned slightly. He turned his hand and struck out, silently tapping on Li Jianming. Ding, a headache was successfully delivered. Merit -1 serves you right, Deng. Lu Shui was still clutching the swollen side of his face. Before leaving, he also shot a venomous and furious glare at Song Bing. Today, he had completely lost face because of Song Bing. But this also made him fully believe Lu Xiangfeng's words. Song Bing indeed possessed a mysterious medical skill, and the Lu family would never allow someone like him to exist. After Xia, Li Deshang, and the others left, Song Bing finally handed that contract to Xia. Let's go handle the contract. I'd be satisfied with just a $20 billion investment. Xia felt a bit uneasy. She expressed her gratitude by saying, consider it my investment in your venture. I trust your character. Additionally, there are also many subsidiary companies under the Li Group. Holding onto them doesn't make it easy for me to cash out. Over time, it's inevitable that Li Deshang, that old fox, might play some tricks, Song said with a smile. Xia paused for a moment in silence, then agreed as well, nodded and solemnly assured, all right. Rest assured, I will absolutely make sure you don't suffer any losses. With the agreement reached, the two set off that very night to handle the matters, working tirelessly until late into the night. Their final stop was the World Bank in Andu. not stopping until everything was completed. A long wheelbase Rolls-Royce pulled up. It was to pick up Sia. "Thank you for the funeral arrangements. Once everything is settled, I will get in touch with you." Before leaving, Sia made sure to solemnly reassure once again. Everything today felt like a dream to him. If it weren't for the funeral arrangements this time, gathering this daunting amount of funds would have been impossible for him. It would have been nothing short of a fantasy. Who would have thought? In the past, he had shown kindness by helping a struggling doctor. Today, that very act was repaid with an extraordinary gift, leaving him both surprised and flattered. Late at night in Andu, a row of luxury cars sped down the bustling highway. "Grandpa, I'll call someone to capture that guy right away." Inside one of the luxury cars, Li Jiaming said darkly, his expression grim. "Until we fully understand his background and identity, do not act recklessly for now." Li Deshang spoke calmly. "Are we just going to let the Li family suffer this huge financial loss for nothing?" Li Jiaming was still unwilling to concede. "Rest assured, just because the Li family doesn't act, doesn't mean others will stand idly by." Li Deshang gave a mysterious smile. "Are you referring to the Lu family?" Li Jiaming had already considered this possibility and more. After Lu Shuihai went back to report, "The Lu family will only feel more urgency than we do. Since that's the case, let the Lu family test that boy's resolve first." Li Deshang gave a sly cough. Li Jiaming, now enlightened, suddenly lit up with realization. He quickly offered a tissue. "Grandpa, what should I do then?" Li Deshang wiped his mouth. Looking at Li Jiaming, he smiled and said, "That girl from the C family is quite good. I can tell you seem to have feelings for her too. Go propose to her tomorrow." Grandpa made the decision, using a $50 billion investment as the engagement gift. Li Deshang's words made Li Jiaming shudder. Realizing it, his face turned red, overwhelmed with excitement. "Thank you, Grandpa. I will go tomorrow." Indeed, ever since he first saw Sia, he completely fell for this elegant and graceful woman. At the same time, he finally came to understand Li Deshang's profound wisdom. Let Lu Jiasen test the waters and offend Song Yi. Meanwhile, he would represent the Li family to marry Sia. Don't forget about that $500 billion contract. Song Yi is definitely going to invest in Sia. So if he can marry Sia, and employ some additional tactics in the process, he might even recover the lost $500 billion. Perhaps, he could also offer the struggling Sia an enormous favor. After going through this series of actions, the Li family secured guaranteed profits with no losses. Understanding all of this, Li Jiaming instantly let go of his anger. Instead, he couldn't hide the excitement within him. He even felt a bit grateful to Song Bing. Unintentionally, it gave him the chance to marry Sia. Parting ways with Sia, Song Bing drove back to the Tianfu villa. Outside the Tianfu lake area, Song Bing ran into two old acquaintances, Wu Yaxue and her mother Wu Yanchun. The mother and daughter seemed to have just returned from the hospital. Wu Yanchun had her mouth open. Her throat was wrapped in layers of gauze. The once talkative woman had suddenly gone quiet. There's no need to doubt it. Oral cancer had flared up. As for Wu Yaxue, she was still wearing her sunglasses, looking pale and worn out, coughing continuously. Although the mother and daughter finally moved into the much-anticipated mansion, life didn't seem to be going too well for them. Song Bing gave a faint smile, and didn't take any particular action. Drove straight into the Tianfu Lake area. Returned to the mansion. The lights were on. Song Bing immediately noticed the sofa in the first-floor living room. A petite and delicate figure lay motionless. Her entire body was covered with a blanket. Only a pair of small, exquisitely shaped feet were exposed. Why is this girl sleeping here? Song Bing was speechless. He stepped forward and patted Xiao Shou lightly. Wake up. The delicate figure wrapped in the blanket rolled over effortlessly. What greeted Song Bing was an icy, bone-chilling butterfly dagger, accurately and swiftly pressed against Song Bing's chin. But under the blanket, it wasn't AI Xiao Shou. Instead, it was a figure in black clothing tightly covering the upper body. Everything happened so abruptly, leaving the unprepared Song Bing no time to react. Don't move, we might be able to negotiate. From beneath the black mask came a calm and icy female voice. Where is that girl? Song narrowed his eyes slightly. After hesitating for a moment, he still decided not to make a move. He had already guessed something. If the other person really intended to kill him, they would have acted earlier. But even so, He was still startled by the sudden turn of events. He fell asleep on the second floor. As long as you cooperate with me, rest assured, all of you will be fine. The woman in black spoke in a calm tone. You're here to rescue that female assassin. Song responded with equal composure. The figure in black standing before him was most likely the person he had been waiting for all along. The woman in black did not reply. Instead, she used her other hand to lift the blanket that was bulging on the left side of the sofa. A stunningly cold yet alluring figure was lying on the sofa. He glared at Song Bing with resentment. Upon seeing the woman as cold as ice, Song Bing's expression changed slightly, because this stunningly frosty woman was none other than Leng Xie, the very person he had imprisoned. She had already been rescued by the woman in black, and had been waiting here early on for him to walk into the trap. But how did the woman in black manage to pull it off? How did she crack the safe code? And how did she get the door open? The unlocked chain. Just as Song was still in shock, the woman in black suddenly threw out a card. A global bank card with a password. Then calmly promised that it contained 100 million. Regarded as compensation for his actions against you. As long as you let this matter be resolved, cleanly settled once and for all, our organization and those behind us will no longer trouble you or your family. Confirming, Song spoke firmly, without forgetting to glance at Leng Xie. The latter still glared at him with fierce intensity. He had no doubt about it. If this woman weren't physically weak, she'd probably have already leapt up and torn him apart. Leng Yu, this is an order from the organization. Are you planning to defy it? The woman in black gave Leng Xie a cold stare. Leng Xie's beautiful eyes flickered slightly. Still gritting his teeth. Annoyed, he demanded I fix this matter. Wiped clean in one stroke. To show sincerity. The woman in black even calmly put away her dagger. Song Bin's eyes flickered with uncertainty. This was also the outcome he most wanted to see. This was a deep blood feud tied to life and death. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone to such lengths to imprison this woman. Or else, being targeted by an assassin organization would not end well. It truly isn't an option. The main thing is that he still has his parents and family. If the other side really targets his family, it would be far too easy. Song Bing stepped up to Leng Xie, raising his hand to pat her slender waist. Leng Xie's delicate body trembled. The strength that had been drained from her felt as though it was being replenished by Song Bing, and she gradually regained her energy. The entire process. Leng Xie kept a cold gaze on Song Bing. Song Bing appeared calm, but in reality, he was already prepared for the worst. Long Yu responded calmly. At the critical moment, a woman in black called out, Mr. Song. Rest assured, this matter was indeed our fault to begin with. From now on, we won't trouble you again. Let's put this matter behind us. The woman in black stood up. She smiled at Song Bing, then grabbed Leng Xie and prepared to leave. Wait, seeing the two assassins were really about to go, Song Bing finally spoke up. The woman in black and Leng Xie turned back with puzzled expressions. Song Bing raised his hand with a swift motion, and tossed the hidden weapons and items he had just collected, returning them to the two women, leaving behind two small, delicate pistols. The faces of the woman in black and Leng Xie immediately changed. They quickly reached for their bodies. Only then did they realize the concealed weapons and items they had hidden on themselves had vanished without a trace. Not a single piece was left behind. How did the other person manage to do this? To steal from them undetected while being held hostage, without them noticing at all? What kind of speed would it take to achieve this? The two women were deeply shaken inside. Mr. Song truly possesses remarkable skills. Impressed, they quickly regained their composure. The woman in black suppressed her shock and said calmly. Leng Xie's face turned icy cold. Song Bing's eerie hands once again shattered her understanding. These hands were absolutely not something a human should have. This was beyond outrageous. I hope you will keep your word. This is also the last chance I am giving you. If it happens again, no matter how troublesome it might be, I don't mind clashing with your organization. Song spoke in a cold tone. In the midst of speaking, Song Bing grasped the two small pistols with one hand, crushed them effortlessly as if they were clay, easily squeezing them into a lump. At that moment, the two women were finally left in awe. Suddenly realized, if they had just acted against Song, then it would undoubtedly be them who ended up dead. Mr. Song, rest assured, our organization would never recklessly provoke someone as powerful as you. suppressing the unease in her heart. The woman in black stepped forward willingly, taking the gun that had been crushed into a ball. As she accepted the item, Song once again unleashed his ghostly hand technique. The illness accidentally given to the other person was quietly taken back. It was all done so silently, as if nothing ever happened. Everything seemed as though it had never occurred. This is what you call a double layer of protection. The two women turned into graceful shadows, and then vanished into the darkness of the night. What they didn't know was this: they had just narrowly escaped a brush with death. Had they chosen to make a move, the basement might have ended up with two female assassins, even two corpses. Watched the two female assassins walk away. Song finally let out a deep breath. A resolution like this is undoubtedly the best. Sure, of course. If Song Bing knew where that organization was, maybe a safer approach would have been chosen. The little creature suddenly thought of something. Song Bing's expression slightly tensed. Quickly headed up to the second floor. Eventually found a room. Discovered the soundly sleeping AI Xiaoxiao. At that moment, he was sprawled out on the bed. His sleeping posture was truly remarkable. Snoring rhythmically, pouting his cherry-colored lips, drooling slightly. Upon seeing this scene, Song's mouth twitched slightly. Only then did he close the door. He returned to his own room. Shortly after Song left, the previously sleeping AI Xiaoxiao suddenly opened her beautiful eyes. A sweet smile appeared on the corner of her lips. Outside the scenic Tianfu Lake, inside a roadside villa. Daughter, Mom can't hold on much longer. Can you talk to your good husband to transfer me to a better private hospital? Oh, and get me a massage chair while you're at it. And one more thing. Now that the villa has been purchased, we should probably get some new furniture too. It would be great if our wonderful son-in-law could buy us some antique pieces, gold items or something like that. That way, they can hold their value over time. At the dining table, Wu Yanchun couldn't hold back from the unbearable pain caused by oral cancer. And with great difficulty, he spoke to Wu Yashua. But the moment he started speaking, there was an endless stream of words waiting to come out. It was oral cancer that ultimately stopped him. Wu Yashua's expression changed slightly. She firmly refused. Why is that? Does marrying into a wealthy family mean you no longer care about your mother? How could you be so heartless? Wu Yanchun instantly panicked. Grabbing Wu Yashua, she broke into tears. Faced with Wu Yanchun's relentless questions, Wu Yashua could no longer tolerate it. In anger, she tore off her sunglasses, revealing her diseased eyes. Combined with her pale skin, she looked like a vampire as she roared at Wu Yanchun. Because he doesn't want me anymore. He dumped me. Are you satisfied now? Daughter, how did you end up like this? Wu Yanchun was startled by Wu Yashua's appearance. Frightened, they kept stepping back. Suddenly lost all their temper. My eye condition has flared up again. And ended up contracting HIV. Your wonderful son-in-law passed it on to me. Wu Yashua decided to drop the act completely. Everything has been laid out in the open. And these shocking revelations hit Wu Yanchun like a bolt of lightning. He froze in panic for a moment. He quickly said, "Then let's have the son-in-law take us to a private hospital. Get us treated there. Isn't the Lu family known for running hospitals? How could he bear to let you end up like this?" Hearing this, Wu Yashua gave a bitter smile. That scoundrel is nothing but a beast. In his eyes, I'm nothing more than a plaything. He never once considered marrying me. Ever since he was driven away by Song Bing that time, he went to see Lu Xiangfeng a few more times, hoping to first get his eyes and HIV treated, and then figure out a way to deal with Song Bing. After all, these two conditions cannot be delayed. As a result, Lu Xiangfeng beat him up during the first few visits. Later, he couldn't even get to see Lu Xiangfeng. This completely shattered his hopes, and made him realize the harsh reality. From beginning to end, he was just someone Lu Xiangfeng used to frame Song Bing's wife. All that talk about being a wealthy socialite, and the sweet promises of buying houses and cars, were nothing but Lu Xiangfeng's lies to deceive her. And yet she found joy in it. Always holding on to unrealistic fantasies, willingly becoming a tool Lu Xiangfeng used in every possible way, going to any lengths to win his favor. In the end, she ended up with absolutely nothing, and even ruined the life of a man who truly loved her. Are you referring to the son-in-law? He no longer wants to be with you. Wu Yanchun's face turned ashen. Her daughter's words jolted her back to reality. Wu Yashua said nothing more. She collapsed helplessly onto the ground as well. The mother and daughter sat there, defeated, in the room that had consumed their lifetime of savings. The luxurious villa purchased with a loan. In the living room, someone suffering from an eye disease and AIDS. A person battling oral cancer. Completely engulfed in despair. What about the upcoming mortgage payments? What will happen to the mother and daughter's illnesses? Without Lu Xiangfeng, who else can they rely on? Xiaosong, Xiaosong. Yes, there's still Xiaosong. Suddenly, the despairing Wu Yanxun seemed to have grasped onto something. He immediately looked toward Wu Ya with a glimmer of hope. Xuanur and Xiaosong were still with us. We still have Xiaosong with us. That's right. In his moment of despair, he suddenly recalled the time he met Song Bing while buying a house. Song Bing was like a ray of light, illuminating the darkness in Wu Yanxun's heart. I've already caused him so much harm. Do you think he would still look at me the same way? Wu Yaxue gave a self-deprecating smile. Of course, he would have this level of self-awareness. It's entirely because he personally verified it. How could he not? Of course, he would. Song Bing is your boyfriend, after all. He used to treat us so well. Now that we're in trouble, he definitely wouldn't stand idly by as Wu Yanxun's mind immediately conjured up memories of Song Bing from before. That kind and simple appearance. Back then, Song Yi would visit her almost every week. He would buy her nutritional supplements. He cleaned her room. He treated her almost like his own mother. Hearing Wu Yanxun's words, Wu Yaxue fell silent. Her mind also recalled the past 3 years. The meticulous care Song Yi had shown her. It was as if he saw her as Snow White. Every holiday brings unexpected surprises. Thinking about all of this, Wu Yaxue started to cry. Her eyes turned even redder. She even shed tears tinged with blood. Suddenly, she felt an overwhelming sense of regret. She desperately wished she could regain Song Bing's love. Why are you crying, my daughter? Don't worry, Song Bing is a kind-hearted person. He's also honest and dependable. I'm sure he'll forgive you. After all, we were once family. There's no obstacle a family can't overcome. Wu Yanxun quickly stepped forward to offer comfort. But I'm pregnant. Unexpectedly, Wu Yaxue revealed another shocking piece of news. Wu Yanxun was stunned. As he realized what was happening, he quickly asked, Who? Is it Xiaosong's? Wu Yaxue shook her head, saying it belonged to Lu Xiao. Wu Yanxun was overjoyed. If it really belonged to Lu Xiangfeng, then they could absolutely use this to rise to power. Why would they need to send any patients? However, to his disappointment, Wu Yaxue shook her head again. Then whose is it? Wu Yanxun froze in place. I have no idea either. Wu Yaxue sobbed quietly as she revealed the truth. In order to raise money for treatment, this was the only option I had. Wu Yanxun's eyes sparkled mischievously as she spoke. No, daughter. This child belongs to Xiaosong. I'm sure he will love it. Wu Yaxue stood frozen in shock, sensing the deeper meaning. Regrettably, she said, I never even let him touch me. How could he possibly believe it? Then hurry up and make peace with him. After all, the child hasn't been conceived for long. By then, whose it is won't matter anymore. Wu Yanxun made a tough decision. Offering advice and suggestions, Wu Yaxue remained silent. This child really hasn't been conceived for long. But he's still dealing with AIDS right now. Daughter, what are you still hesitating about? We can't afford to offend the Lu family. Now, our mother-daughter lives depend entirely on Xiaosong. There's no other choice but to rely on Xiaosong. At worst, just live a good life in the future. Make up for him, and that will be enough. Wu Yanxun analyzed. I'm worried she might not accept me. Wu Yaxue is still feeling conflicted. She had been rejected by Song Bing before. On top of that, she's been relying on public transportation frequently lately. She doesn't feel as confident as she used to. At the same time, she thought of something. Back in the day at the funeral clothing shop, the girl who was with Song Bing. Could she be Song Bing's new girlfriend? She was even more beautiful than her. Wu Yanxun suddenly fell silent for a moment. After all, their attitude toward Song Bing before had indeed been somewhat unkind. Suddenly, Wu Yanxun thought of something. Her eyes lit up as she said, That's it. Isn't school starting in a few days? Make sure to dress in a more innocent style then. Propose to her publicly at school. Traditionally, it's always the man who proposes to the woman. By humbling yourself like this, she'll definitely be moved beyond words. Wu Yaxue was stunned. Only then did she remember. That school is indeed starting in a few days. when the time comes. Doesn't this mean she might meet Song Bing at school again? Mom, I'll do as you say. I have to win Song Bing back. This time, I will not let her down again. I want to spend the rest of my life making it up to her. Wu Yashue's gaze suddenly turned resolute. She had already made up her mind. No matter what it takes. She was determined to win back the boy who once loved her. This time, she'll truly cherish Xiao Song. Just go about your daily life. Stop thinking about anything else. Xiao Song is an honest and good-hearted kid. He deserves your love. Wu Yanchun let out a helpless sigh. The next day, Song Bing followed the plan as agreed. He treated Ai Xiaoxiao to a chicken meal. Then they headed to the funeral clothing shop together. But as soon as they reached the snack street, they spotted the funeral clothing shop entrance from afar. Standing nearby were several law enforcement officers dressed in uniform, along with a law enforcement vehicle. You must be Song Bing. Several officers moved in to surround Song Bing. Leading the group was a sharp-featured, stern-looking middle-aged woman. I am Song Bing. With a slight frown, he glanced at these clearly hostile individuals. You are suspected of running an illegal operation. Please come with us. Detective Lu Haifan said coldly. Illegal operations. What law did I break? Song Bing sneered. He already had a hunch about what was going on. Stop wasting time, you'll find out when you get there. Lu Haifan said impatiently. She even pulled out the electric baton from her belt, as if she was ready to act the moment Song Bing dared to resist. Wouldn't hesitate to take action. Song Bing frowned deeply. Still spoke to Ai Xiaoxiao, who stood beside him worried and afraid. You watch carefully first. Be careful, shopkeeper. Ai Xiaoxiao's delicate face couldn't hide her concern, not giving Song Bing a chance to say more. A few law enforcement officers aggressively stepped forward, put handcuffs on Song Bing, and escorted him onto the law enforcement vehicle. On the way, Lu Haifan's gaze suddenly sharpened. She unexpectedly launched a secret attack on Song Bing. He deliberately avoided any critical areas. This would only result in internal injuries. Song Bing turned his head to look at this venomous woman. The latter met Song Bing's gaze and revealed a sinister grin. She struck Song Bing once more. Song Bing smiled and completely let go. No longer stingy with merits. Anyone who attacks him is repaid with a terminal illness. Ding Chenggong grants merit for cervical cancer -1. Ding Chenggong grants merit for stomach cancer -1. Ding Chenggong grants merit for trigeminal neuralgia -1. Inside a dark and foul-smelling interrogation room, Song Bing was detained here. Lu Haifeng didn't waste a word. He threw a piece of evidence in front of Song Bing. Song Bing conducted an investigation. Your funeral clothing store is suspected of involvement in issues such as unsanitary practices, overcharging, and unlicensed medical activities. You are also implicated in a rape and murder case. You can now sign and confess to the charges. Song Bing looked at the malicious female detective. Where is the evidence at this point? This detective claims you committed a crime. That means you are guilty. Lu Haifan's gaze was as sharp as a hawk, like a ruthless woman who had taken countless lives. He quickly flashed a sinister smile. But since you're asking for proof, then I'll provide you with the evidence. He calmly turned around, skillfully turned off the surveillance camera. At the same moment, the door to the interrogation room opened. 5 enforcement officers holding various batons stepped inside. Each gaze was filled with menace. They looked at Song Bing with a playful smirk. The sticks in their hands were proof enough. They could have as many as they wanted. Detective Song Bing once again asked impartially, "Do you admit to your crime?" Lu Haifan demanded an answer. Song Bing's eyes turned icy cold. This was forcing him to send these people to their deaths ahead of time. He never saw it coming. It's unbelievable how these people can act so lawlessly. This seems like an attempt to force a confession out of him. And judging by the situation, it's clear this isn't the first time they've done this. Haifang and Young Song are guests of the Lu family. How could anyone treat our guests like this? Just at that moment, behind another door, a short and stout man, wearing glasses, a middle-aged man walked out with a smile. Beside the middle-aged man, followed a man with a receding hairline. Song Bing's eyes narrowed slightly. He didn't recognize the middle-aged man, but he did recognize the man with the receding hairline next to him. It was none other than Lu Shuihai. It was clear that the Lu family was making a second move against him, and they didn't hesitate to pull some strings. At this moment, Lu Shuihai was also looking at Song Bing. His gaze was cold and gloomy. With a cold sneer. Still unaware that he's already suffering from cerebral palsy. After he went back and exaggerated the truth to reveal what really happened. Upon hearing the news, Song Bing had surprisingly cured the genetic disease in the Li family with ease. The entire Lu family leadership was shaken. A high-level meeting was held that very night. They ultimately reached a unanimous decision to control Song Bing. To make him work for the Lu family. If they couldn't gain control over him, then destroy it. Only the Lu pharmaceutical group can dominate in Gua. No other threats will be tolerated. That's why he could meet Song Bing here. It's a pleasure to meet you, young friend Song. I forgot to introduce myself. I am Lu Tianchao, chairman of Lu Medical Group. The middle-aged man stepped forward. He extended his hand warmly into the interrogation room. A face that looks like a smiling tiger. Seeing this, Song Bing slightly curled the corners of his mouth. He also extended his hand and shook hands warmly with the other person. Ding successfully delivered mental confusion merit -1. Then warmly shook hands with Lu Shuihai. Expert Lu, long time no see. Ding successfully delivered mental confusion merit -1. Song Bing suddenly felt that one case of cerebral palsy wasn't enough, and decided to add another case of mental disorder. Lu Shuihai was briefly stunned. Then he shook off Song Bing's hand with disgust. He sneered inwardly, thinking it was too late to realize now. Seeing Song Bing so cooperative, Lu Tianchao's smile deepened. He went straight to the point and said he had heard of Song Xiaoyou's exceptional medical skills, and also praised his kind-hearted nature. As for the Lu Corporation, it has always upheld the principle of healing and saving lives, which is why they invited Song Xiaoyu this time. For no other reason. I simply wish to sincerely invite you to join my Lu Corporation, so we can work together to benefit the people. Song inwardly sneered, and said, President Lu, your way of inviting people is indeed quite unique. Young Song may possess exceptional medical skills, but as of now, he doesn't even have a license to practice medicine. As long as you're willing to join my Lu Corporation, I can immediately restore your license to practice medicine, and even help you become a revered doctor in Ngua. When the time comes, fame, fortune, beautiful women, and celebrities will all be yours to choose from. Lu Tianchao dangled the temptation. What if I refuse? Song Bing responded with a faint smile. Lu Tianchao's eyes narrowed slightly. He pulled out a contract, along with Lu Haifon's earlier confession letter, and placed them in front of Song Bing. Only then did he reveal a cunning smile and say, I, from the Lu Corporation. It can help Song make a name for himself. It can just as easily bury you forever. This might even extend to your family. Song is a smart person. Even if you don't think about yourself, you should at least think about your family, and consider the implications carefully. The choice is entirely up to you. It's all in your hands. A sharp glint of cold determination flashed in Song's eyes, kept a fixed gaze on the old fox, smiled and said, since the Lu Group is so eager to welcome me, then I might as well graciously accept. Rest assured, I will definitely bring glory to your family. As he spoke, Song didn't even glance, and directly signed his name on that overbearing contract, leaving his signature without hesitation. Since the Lu family wants him so much, he decided to fulfill their wish, promising to manage everything in the Lu Group flawlessly. Young Master Song truly proves to be a clever individual. The authorities still have not released the person. We're all on the same side now. Achieved a satisfying outcome. Lu Tianchao burst into hearty laughter, believing he had secured a miracle-working doctor under the Lu pharmaceutical group, unaware that he had brought trouble to the entire Lu family. Invited what could be called a harbinger of illness and misfortune. Walked out of the station alongside Lu Tianchao, followed closely by several bodyguards armed with weapons, keeping a close watch on Song Bing as he got into the car. It was clear they were worried Song Bing might try to escape. But the truth is, if Song Bing really wanted to run, these people wouldn't actually be able to stop him. Mr. Lu, where are we taking Song Bing? He asked with a smile. Of course, we're heading to the Lu family estate to hold a welcome ceremony for you. Everyone has high expectations for your medical skills. Lu Tianchao replied with a meaningful smile. That's great to hear. I have high expectations for everyone at the Lu Corporation. Song Bing smiled as well. An innocent and pure expression. This reception. You need to cure my son in front of everyone. This is your chance to prove yourself. Opportunities are closely tied to your future. I trust you won't let me down. Lu Tianchao hinted with a subtle threat. No need to worry, Mr. Li. Since I've made up my mind to serve the Lu group, I will give it my all and dedicate myself fully, without expecting anything in return. Song patted his chest confidently. He was already eager to get started. Alright, I have high hopes for you. Lu Tianchao couldn't help but burst into laughter. Meanwhile, Lu Shuahai looked a bit surprised. This doesn't seem right, this guy wasn't like this before. He didn't even give Li Deshang any face. Why is he suddenly so obedient and submissive? Could it be that he fears the influence of the Lu family? Yes, that must be the reason. With this thought in mind, a fierce glint appeared in Lu Shuahai's eyes. From now on, Song Bing would be nothing more than a dog for the Lu family. Someone they could command at will. He would make sure Song Bing repaid the humiliation he suffered tenfold, even 100-fold. Let me explain this in detail. Song Bing agreed to treat the Lu family. It's not about curing the illness, but rather using the opportunity to spread the illness. The Lu family is bound to face terrible consequences later. The Lu family mansion. Nearly 100 core members of the Lu family's leadership gathered here. Each and every one of them is almost always a hospital director overseeing a specific region, or an expert in a particular field of Angua's medical community. They hold prestigious positions and significant authority, and are highly decorated with honors. At this moment, however, they were all waiting for Song Bing to arrive. They were curious to see what kind of abilities Song Bing truly possessed that could make the Lu family go to such great lengths. Soon, outside the luxurious mansion, several black luxury cars arrived one after another. Song Bing, along with Lu Tianchao and Lu Shuehai, stepped out of a Rolls-Royce Phantom. The senior members of the Lu family held up their wine glasses. Immediately, he began observing Song Bing with great interest. They were surprised to see how young Song Bing was. Many senior executives instantly showed astonished expressions. Discussions quickly broke out among the group. The next moment, everyone, hello. My name is Song Bing. I have officially joined the Lu Corporation. From now on, we are all part of one family. I look forward to learning from all of you. The moment Song Bing stepped out of the car, he instantly acted like an old friend. Hurriedly stepped forward, shook hands with every senior member of the Lu Corporation one by one. His enthusiasm was through the roof. Everyone was completely taken aback by Song Bing's overwhelming enthusiasm. If their memory served them correctly, wasn't Song Bing brought in through coercive measures by them? Yet here he was, genuinely thrilled. Could it be that he had wanted to join the Lu Corporation from the very beginning? Thinking about the high expectations the executives originally had, it has now turned into disdain. Going through all this trouble, wasting so much of their energy, only to capture someone like this. Pleased to meet you. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you all for the trust and support. Taking time out of your busy schedules to attend my welcome ceremony. I don't really have anything worthwhile to offer in return. Just offer a handshake. Everyone, make yourselves at home. Song paid no attention to the shifting expressions of the departing executives. He kept enthusiastically shaking hands. Song made sure not to miss a single person. The over 200 points of accumulated virtue were quickly depleting. But Song didn't feel the slightest regret about it. Look how welcoming the Lu family is. They even went out of their way to use connections to bring him here. And yet, he's not even offering a small gift in return. That would be incredibly inconsiderate. Gazing at Song Bing's cheerful smile, the senior members of the Lu family, it was no longer just simple disdain, but rather a look of suspicion directed at Lu Shuehai. Lu Shuehai exchanged glances with Lu Tianchao. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly. They didn't expect Song Bing to be so enthusiastic either. It feels as if this were his own home. If this scoundrel can't cure the issue, big brother, let me handle the slicing research on Xiangfeng. Lu Shuehai's face showed clear disgust. He muttered venomously under his breath. Xiangfeng also insisted on letting him treat it. Let's see how it goes first. If he really can't handle it, you can deal with him however you want. Lu Tianchao maintained a constant smile, but the cruelty in his eyes surpassed even Lu Shuehai. After speaking, he turned to Song and said loudly with a smile, "My friend Song, everyone here is a core member of the Lu group. Go treat my son right away. Everyone is already eagerly waiting to witness your exceptional medical skills." Song insisted on finishing the handshake. Only then did everyone approach Lu Tianchao. He smiled and said, Sure, absolutely not a problem. As he spoke, he extended his hand again, shaking hands with both Lu Tianchao and Lu Shuehai. He thought. The nervous breakdown he staged in the interrogation room earlier wasn't dramatic enough, so he decided to throw in some even more bizarre illnesses for the two of them. Lu Tianchao and his companion couldn't figure out why Song Bing had this odd habit of always wanting to shake hands with them, but out of their refined manners and habits, they still shook hands with him. After the handshake, they immediately escorted Song Bing to a room on the second floor. The group of executives followed closely behind, with an expression like they were watching a show. The door to the ward swung open, revealing the scene inside almost immediately. Lu Xiangfeng was lying on the hospital bed, but he was tied up with ropes. His body was connected to various expensive medical devices. His face appeared pale and waxy. His hair was disheveled and he looked unkempt. All his limbs had been amputated to save his life. The teeth were removed to prevent the onset of rabies. Bit off his tongue and pulled out all his teeth to end it. The skin, rotting away, was wrapped tightly in bandages. It's hard to imagine that the once dashing young master of the Lu family has now turned into such a ghastly sight. But for Song Bing, it came as no surprise at all. In fact, it turned out even better than he had expected. It seems the illness wasn't severe enough back then. The senior members of the Lu family couldn't bear to look directly at Lu Xiangfeng. They seemed a bit uncomfortable, but still played along by wiping their eyes. Whether those tears were genuine is anyone's guess. As for whether they were truly crying, that remains unclear. This young man here is my son. I know you are already acquainted with him. But now that you've joined the Lu Corporation, the past minor disputes between you and Xiangfeng should be left behind. What do you think? Lu Tianchao broke the silence. He glanced at Song with a smile. He smiled faintly, with a hint of menace. Song sneered inwardly. A petty grudge colluded with Wu Yashue, falsely accusing him and dragging him into a lawsuit. He was confined, fined, and had his shop shut down. Reduced to being scorned by everyone. This is what you call a petty grudge. What kind of words are these, Mr. Lu? Let the past stay in the past. Let's focus solely on the present moment now. Song Bing responded with a similar smile. He had long stopped caring about what happened in the past. The only thing he cares about is the present. Young Master Song, you truly have a generous heart. Then please go ahead and begin diagnosing and treating Xiangfeng. Lu Tianchao smiled with satisfaction. He felt he had already gained control over Song Bing. There's no need for a diagnosis. I've already figured out the illness Lu Xiao is suffering from. Song Bing smiled confidently. As soon as these words were spoken, many people couldn't help but smile. Lu Tianchao's eyes narrowed slightly. Yet he still smiled and asked about the unknown symptoms of Xiangfeng. If I'm not mistaken, Lu Xiao is suffering from more than one illness, but rather a rare combination of 22 conditions, some of which are terminal diseases. These 22 conditions include rabies, impotence, infertility, AIDS. Watching Lu Xiangfeng lying on the hospital bed, he began to speak fluently and at length. A silence as still as death filled the room. Everyone watched Song Bing, their expressions shifting from initial amusement to utter shock. Each person's eyes widened in disbelief. It had gone beyond what words like surprised could capture. Because Song Bing, not only accurately and without error, listed all 22 of Lu Xiangfeng's diagnosed illnesses, it elaborated in great detail on how these symptoms affect individuals. You have to understand that during the time they were treating Lu Xiangfeng, they relied entirely on advanced equipment to identify these symptoms through testing. This is exactly why they were just laughing moments ago. But Song Bing glanced briefly and accurately pointed it out without a single mistake. How could this not leave them astonished? Of course, what they didn't know was these symptoms were actually caused by Song Bing for Lu Xiangfeng. Compared to everyone else's surprise, Lu Tianchao standing nearby was undeniably the most shocked, because he knew Lu Xiangfeng's condition better than anyone. Young Master Song, please start treating Xiangfeng right away. Just let us know whatever medicine or equipment is needed. Lu Tianchao's gaze at Song Bing had completely changed. It was now filled with hope. Divine Dr. Song, please save me. Divine Dr. Song, I'm begging you to save me. I'm pleading with you to help me. I was wrong, I truly was. I sincerely apologize for my previous actions. Right at that moment, the unconscious Lu Xiangfeng regained consciousness. The instant he saw Song Bing, the despair in his lifeless eyes was replaced with a glimmer of hope for survival. He immediately became overwhelmed with emotion. During this period of time, it felt as though he had endured every cruel torture imaginable in the world. 22 terminal illnesses, imagine that. Everything miraculous seems to happen to him. Isn't it incredible when you think about it? Mr. Lu, rest assured. I will do everything in my power to heal you. Song Bing gave Lu Xiangfeng a small comforting glance. Then he clasped his hands behind his back and spoke calmly. Prepare 300 extra-large silver needles. A ginseng root that's over 500 years old. Clothes and gloves. Face masks and alcohol. Song Bing suddenly exuded the aura of a true master. Everyone was momentarily stunned by Song Bing's abrupt change in demeanor. It was Lu Tianchao who snapped back and said, "Why are you still standing around? Didn't you hear what Divine Dr. Song said?" "I'll go." Lu Shuai hurried to make preparations. As the member of the Lu family with the highest medical achievements, he was responsible for managing various instruments and expensive medicinal materials. Before long, Lu Shuai hurried over in a rush, holding a tray in his hands. It contained everything Song Bing had just asked for. Song Bing calmly opened the box first. Inside was a 600-year-old wild mountain delicacy. Then, under the watchful eyes of everyone, he began eating. Lu Shuai and Lu Tianchao, along with the senior members of the Lu family. What on earth is this? How did they start eating it? Wasn't it supposed to be for Lu Xiangfeng? Could it be that it needs to be chewed up and fed? Even Lu Xiangfeng himself parted his dry, cracked lips slightly, looking utterly confused. However, seeing Song Bing's composed and enigmatic demeanor, everyone remained silent. It wasn't until Song Bing finished the entire ginseng and let out a satisfied burp. With physical fitness 10 times stronger, he didn't get a nosebleed. Not bad, though the flavor was a bit monotonous. Next time, let's try something different. Song Bing smiled knowingly to himself. He glanced at the crowd. Only then did he calmly put on his robe and step in front of Lu Xiangfeng. Lu Shuai's gaze flickered. He stayed closely by Song Bing's side. On that day, he couldn't witness Song Bing's medical treatment. This time, it was on his home turf. He definitely wouldn't let this slide. All the top executives stared intently. Seeing this, Song immediately switched to persuasion mode. Song squinted slightly, his eyes gleaming. He gently raised his hands and pressed them down. Then began channeling his energy. Under the hopeful gaze of the Lu family members, he let out a fart. "Lu Xiao, just bear with it. It'll pass soon enough." Ignoring the peculiar looks from everyone around, Song Bing swiftly grabbed the 300 oversized silver needles. He flashed a faint smile at Lu Xiangfeng, gazing at these oversized silver needles that seemed longer than life itself. Lu Xiangfeng's sallow face showed a slight change. His body shivered involuntarily, as if struck by a sudden chill. However, Song Bing didn't give him any chance to regret his decision. With a loud, commanding shout, he began inserting the needles without hesitation. Starting by inserting one directly into his mouth, Song's hands moved at lightning speed. The ghostly hand was unleashed, as fast as a fleeting shadow, throwing caution to the wind, focused on being fast and ruthless. After a few swift pricks, Lu Xiangfeng let out a piercing, agonized scream. Everyone shuddered involuntarily, staring at those long, thick, oversized silver needles as they plunged into Lu Xiangfeng's body. It looks painful just watching it. However, seeing Song Bing's ghostly hand move as fast as a fleeting shadow, everyone felt their hearts skip a beat. There wasn't a shred of doubt. They only thought it was unfathomable. Who among ordinary people could have such speed with their hands? Could this be an ancient and long-lost acupuncture technique? It's highly possible. What an incredibly profound technique. This truly broadened my horizons. The group of Lu family executives ignored Lu Xiangfeng's screams. They began to discuss intensely among themselves. Their disdain and skepticism toward Song Bing began to shift into astonishment. Standing nearby and observing closely, Lu Shuai's eyes darted around in disbelief. He just felt dizzy and lightheaded. It was too fast, incredibly fast. He couldn't see anything clearly at all, let alone noticing the blood. At that moment, his doubts about Song Bing completely vanished. Song Bing could feel the astonishment in the gazes directed at him by the crowd. Overflowing with confidence, immediately intensified the effort. Unleashing full speed, avoided the critical spots. Doesn't matter what technique it is. Looking cool is all that matters. In this moment, he was like a relentless character. Song Bing was enthusiastically focused. The Lu family executives were engrossed while watching. However, Lu Xiangfeng didn't seem to share the enthusiasm. Song Bing inserted the 299th needle. Letting out one final agonizing cry, he began foaming at the mouth. His body started convulsing. Seeing this, Song Bing quickly inserted the last needle. Only then did he step forward to comfort Lu Xiao. Take deep breaths, take deep breaths. Feeling dizzy is completely normal. Dr. Song, please stop with the needles. I can't take it anymore. Lu Xiangfeng pleaded through his convulsions. The eyes have already started rolling back. Ding! The body is about to give out due to rabies, asthma, and epilepsy. The host needs to treat it quickly. Song Bing's expression shifted slightly. He hurried to collect these 3 diseases. Better not push it too far. He hasn't had enough satisfaction yet. Sure enough, after collecting all 3 diseases, Lu Xiang's convulsions came to a stop, gradually coming back to life. The monitors, like the ECG, started showing faster activity. It seemed as if it was all thanks to the recent acupuncture. The anxious Lu Tianchao and others, upon seeing this scene, completely believed in the profoundness of this acupuncture technique. Young Master Lu, how are you feeling now? Song Bing asked with a faint smile. I feel much better now. Really, I feel so much better. Thank you, Dr. Song. Thank you, Dr. Song. Lu Xiangfeng took a moment to feel it carefully. He realized his body suddenly felt much lighter. He was instantly overwhelmed with excitement. Even his speech became more fluent. You're welcome, it's my duty. Song Bing smiled warmly. Dr. Song truly lives up to his reputation. Lu Tianchao also stepped forward excitedly. The eyes of the Lu family members looking at Song Bing had completely changed. A true master of medicine, absolutely unparalleled. Mr. Lu, you're too kind. Song gave a humble smile. Then his expression turned serious. So far, I've already cured 3 of Mr. Lu's ailments. The remaining 19 will need to be treated in stages. Otherwise, I'm concerned it might take too much of a toll on Mr. Lu's body. Then let's take it slow and steady. At this moment, we are completely convinced by Dr. Song's remarkable skills. Lu Tianchao nodded repeatedly in approval. No one had any doubts. After all, just a moment ago, Lu Xiangfeng clearly looked like he couldn't handle it. If it had gone further, he might have actually kicked the bucket. Mr. Lu, you can go ahead and check. If my guess is correct, young Master Lu's rabies, epilepsy, and asthma should be cured. Song Ding said with full confidence. How could we possibly doubt Dr. Song? The banquet has already been prepared. Please, esteemed doctors, go ahead. Lu Tianchao smiled and gestured with his hand. The senior members seemed to step aside to clear the way. At this moment, Song truly became the center of attention. He was welcomed as an honored guest by the entire Lu family. Lu Tianchao signaled Lu Xuehai to conduct the inspection. Only then did he follow along. The atmosphere at the banquet took a sudden turn, replaced by a group of Lu family executives seemingly stepping forward, proactively toasting with Song Bing. As the head of the family, Lu Tianchao extended exceptional courtesy. The way he looked at Song Bing was filled with fervent admiration. He had already regarded Song Bing as the future cash cow of the Lu Corporation. In response, Song Bing welcomed everyone without hesitation. Seeing this whole family equally brimming with enthusiasm, the banquet lasted until late at night before it came to an end. Lu Tianchao personally arranged for a private car to escort Song Bing home. Naturally, as someone who signed a contract with the Lu Corporation, Song Bing also has to be available at a moment's notice. It is essentially like becoming a servant at the Lu Corporation's beck and call. Yet, Song Bing is actually quite willing to do so. Every visit to the Lu family is an opportunity to humiliate the Lu Corporation's people. Why wouldn't he take advantage of that? Only a fool wouldn't find that amusing. After Song Bing left, the Lu family hall fell into silence. The smiles on the faces of the Lu family members completely disappeared. Lu Xuehai came downstairs at this moment, overwhelmed with excitement down to the smallest detail. After conducting an examination, the rabies, asthma, and epilepsy on Xiangfeng's body had indeed been cured. As soon as this statement was made, the senior members of the Lu family all had sharp looks in their eyes, breathing heavily. This young man is likely the descendant of a once great family of traditional Chinese medicine. Some people speculated on it. The senior executives all nodded in agreement. Diseases like rabies, which are considered incurable, modern Western medicine cannot treat them. Only certain traditional Chinese remedies might offer a chance. Then why not imprison him? and make him serve the Lu Corporation forever? Someone immediately questioned in confusion. The senior executive's eyes gleamed with greed. All of them turned their gaze to the family head at the main seat. Lu Tianchao has the ability to cure so many terminal illnesses. One can only imagine the immense value of delivering such treatments. It's not hard to picture how much revenue this could generate for the Lu Corporation in the future. What's more, it's entirely possible to grow the Lu Corporation into the world's leading pharmaceutical group. It could definitely happen. Rest assured, the moment the contract is signed, for the rest of his life, he is destined to be nothing more than a servant to the Lu family. If you want to raise a good dog into a loyal companion, you have to gradually feed the brainwashing process. Applying too much pressure all at once makes it easy for someone to lash out. Lu Tianchao glanced at everyone present. The corners of his mouth curved slightly. With a faint smirk, he said, "What we want is not just for this person to work for the Lu Corporation, but also for him to willingly pass down his medical skills to the Lu family." Everyone was taken aback upon hearing this. The body shuddered slightly. The greed in their eyes grew even stronger. The family head is truly wise. After the start of autumn, the bustling nights in Andu carried a touch of coolness. A private luxurious mansion. The opulent dining room shimmered with grandeur. An exclusive indoor private space. Over a dozen people filled the largest jade dining table. Each family member was seated. Each servant had a maid assigned to assist them. The dining table was covered with a variety of luxurious and expensive dishes. Every dish could almost equal a month's salary for an average person. Si Haiwa sat at the head of the table. No one dared to pick up their chopsticks first. The whole family seemed to be waiting for something. "Grandfather, it's already past dinner time. Sia still hasn't arrived. It's obvious she's doing this on purpose." At the far right end, Siua, sitting in a flowing skirt, seized the moment and mumbled, "I'll make a call to follow up." Siua's father, Siming, slightly changed his expression and said, "No need. This family gathering was originally planned for Xiaoya. What difference does it make?" Sihaiwa responded with displeasure. A trace of resentment flashed across Sirui's delicate face, but she dared not speak again. "Sorry. There was heavy traffic on the way. I arrived later than expected." Just at that moment, Sia, dressed in professional attire, hurried over. Her delicate face faintly showed traces of glistening sweat. These past couple of days, she had been busy dealing with matters regarding Song Bing's investments, trying to help Song Bing recover that 500 billion sum from Li Jia's grasp. It's not exactly easy. I also didn't expect Sihaiwa to suddenly host a family dinner. That's why I rushed over here in a hurry. I didn't even have time to change my clothes. You're really becoming more important, making the whole family wait for you this long. Surui sneered coldly. Her sharp gaze was filled with jealousy. Sia, already used to it, didn't respond. She was just about to sit back in her seat. But Sihaiwa smiled and called out to Xiaoya, "Come sit next to Grandpa." At this moment, Sihaiwa looked at Sia with an expression of kindness on his aged face. Sia was confused and didn't understand. She had never seen Sihaiwa smile at her this way before, but noticing her father's gesture, she obediently sat in the seat closest to Sihaiwa. "Now that everyone's here, let's start eating." Only then did Sihaiwa speak with a smile. As he picked up his chopsticks, everyone else began eating in an orderly manner. A gathering of aristocratic families. An unpretentious and simple meal began this way. The lavish family etiquette was displayed to the fullest. "I called you all here today to announce some good news." Shortly after the meal started, Sihaiwa finally spoke up. Everyone immediately put down their chopsticks and listened attentively. All eyes turned toward Sia. This made Sia feel uneasy. An ominous feeling began to grow in her heart. Sihaiwa also looked at Sia. He smiled kindly and said, "Sia, Grandpa has some good news to share with you. Just yesterday, Li Jiaming from the Li family came to propose marriage. He wants to take you as his wife." Jiaming is a young man of excellent character. "Not long ago, I just returned from studying abroad at Cambridge University in Ligua, and they are about the same age as you. It's a perfect match. So your grandpa took the liberty and agreed to this marriage on your behalf." Si Haiwa's words struck like a bolt of lightning, leaving the usually composed and gentle Sia visibly shocked. After realizing what was said, she quickly shook her head in panic, saying, "No, Grandpa, I haven't even thought about this yet." But before she could finish her sentence, It was abruptly interrupted by Simon slamming the table as he stood up. You're already 26 years old this year. It's about time for you to reach the age of marriage. That Li Jiaming happens to be the direct heir of the Li Corporation. He is bound to take over the entire corporation in the future. He seems to be a perfect match for you in terms of social standing. The rest of the family also looked at Sia with confusion. They had thought that hearing such great news, Sia would be delighted. After all, in the circle of wealthy families, who isn't aware of Li Jiaming's talent? Under the gaze of the crowd, Sia's face turned pale, yet she still bit her lip, explaining that it wasn't about being a good match or not. I've barely even met Li Jiaming a few times. There's no emotional connection whatsoever, let alone talking about engagement. Simon wanted to get angry, but was held back by Sihaiwa. Looking at Sia, he continued speaking kindly to Xiaoya. Grandpa won't keep it from you. This time, you and Jiaming are getting engaged. It's incredibly significant for the family. If the two of you can make it work, the Si family and the Li family will become in-laws. At that time, the Li family will also invest a massive 50 billion in the Si family. The family will further benefit at the grand family banquet on the 31st. By leveraging the connection with the Li family to gain more. This investment is critical for addressing the family's current crisis. It is an absolutely essential matter. So please, consider this as a personal request from Grandpa. Sia looked at the never-before-seen gentle smile of Sihaiwa, a warm and kind expression, and finally understood the reason. She quickly explained. Grandpa, you don't need to worry about the family. I've already secured a 500 billion investment for our family. As soon as she said this, the dining table suddenly fell silent. The Si family conglomerate needs a total of 400 billion to address the crisis. And this investment requires the combined efforts of nearly 100 companies within the Si group, and close to 1,000 senior managers working together to pull it off. Yet Sia casually mentioned 500 billion all by herself, exceeding the required amount by an extra 100 billion. Naturally, everyone's first reaction was skepticism. Sihaiwa, recovering from the surprise, was doubtful, and asked about the 500 billion. Who would be willing to invest so much money in Sia for me? And where is the contract? It's a friend I know. I'm still organizing this amount of money. The contract can only be signed once the funds are sorted out. Sia explained. Hasn't he been running around for this matter these past couple of days? However, seeing this, everyone became even more convinced that Sia was lying. Sia, if you're going to lie, at least come up with a better excuse. 500 billion is almost 1/10 of the company's peak period. You really don't hold back with your exaggerations. Even Siri couldn't miss the chance to mock this. Enough, even if you manage to reach 500 billion. You still have to agree to this marriage. This is a union between prominent families. It concerns the future development of the family. The blood of the Si family runs through your veins. Whether you want to or not, you must comply. Siming slammed the table at this moment and shouted. Completely extinguished Sio's last glimmer of hope. The Xia family has provided you with a life of luxury and privilege. All these years growing up. Now you're facing a crisis. What's wrong with contributing your part? Exactly. Are you really going to stand by and watch the family business decline like this? That young Mr. Li truly has a humble personality, which is quite impressive. As for feelings, they can gradually develop over time. At the dining table, Sio's eldest uncle, her third uncle and other relatives also started to persuade her. Sia looked at these relatives. At this moment, she suddenly felt they were so unfamiliar. It was at this moment she truly understood. As a woman, her ultimate fate could only be reduced to a pawn in a family marriage alliance. Even if she presented that 500 billion contract, Sihaiwa would still refuse to grant her control over the Sia family. Leave it to him to figure it out. Sia slightly flushed, beautiful eyes gradually grew determined. She rose with a cold demeanor. She broke through the chatter of the crowd. Give me some time to think it over. After saying that, he gave them no chance to speak further. He left ahead of time. Unlike his hurried arrival, his raspy footsteps sounded crisp. His departing figure carried an air of resolute aloofness. Since the family wants to sell him off, then he might as well take control of the family. Truly someone who doesn't appreciate their blessings. If young Master Li were getting engaged to me, for the sake of the family, I'd be more than willing 100 times over. As soon as Sia left, Siri mocked while eating caviar. Her voice was piercingly sharp. Of course, that sharpness was laced with jealousy. Ever since the day Li Jiaming came to propose marriage, she had been deeply captivated by Li Jiaming's tall and handsome appearance and demeanor. She found herself utterly drawn to him. Unfortunately, he was there to propose to Sia. This made her feel an intense sense of resentment. She couldn't understand why men always preferred Sia. That woman, with her naturally frail and pitiful demeanor, only knew how to charm men. Was she not beautiful herself? She was just a little heavier than Sia. The night market is especially lively. Song Bing returned to the veterinary clinic in high spirits. On the way back, he kept thinking about what to do next. That whole family seemed like they had some ancient punishments in store. It wasn't until from a distance he saw Ai Xiaoxiu waiting by the clinic's entrance. Her delicate, adorable face was full of worry. The master caught sight of Song Bing. Ai Xiaoxiu's face instantly lit up with a bright smile. She excitedly rushed over and gave Song Bing a big bear hug. Song Bing only felt his chest being firmly hit by two soft spheres, nearly losing his balance. As a unique, youthful fragrance filled his senses, Song Bing finally regained his clarity. Realizing the flustered Ai Xiaoxiu quickly let go of Song Bing, feeling deeply embarrassed. Oh no, I was too hasty. I forgot my role. How many pets came today? Song coughed lightly a couple of times. Changed the subject. It has to be said, Ai Xiaoxiu truly has an amazing figure. 158 pet dogs, 5 pet cats, and also 2 little hedgehogs. Oh, and a stunning young lady stopped by too. Ai Xiaoxiu explained in detail. The two of them walked into the store together. They saw a group of small pets in cages that needed care. Song Bing's eyes lit up slightly. The good deeds today have taken a heavy toll. It's urgent to replenish. I've already eaten. Go get something to eat yourself. I'll take care of things here. Song Bing handed a few bills to Ai Xiaoxiu. Thank you, master. Seeing money, Ai Xiaoxiu reacted as if he had spotted a perfectly roasted golden chicken. He dashed straight toward the rotisserie shop. Song Bing dressed in a white burial robe and began taking in patients. Accumulating virtue was in short supply today, so he continued to make up for it. Song Shui, you finally arrived. Song Bing had just finished gathering all the animals. A sultry and captivating female voice came from behind. Song turned his head to look back. His eyes lit up instantly. Miss Wang caught Song's eye, and his excitement was evident. He eagerly stepped forward to greet her. His gaze moved up and down, carefully examining the stunning beauty in front of him. She was dressed in a black strapless dress. On her feet were clear high-heeled sandals. Her snowy white legs displayed a succubus tattoo, showcasing a bold and captivating allure. Yet, Song Bing's brows furrowed deeply, still looking forward to asking Miss Wang, "Where is your baby?" That's right, the stunningly gorgeous woman before us was actually the first customer when Song Bing opened his shop. Wang Xiaoxiao. What Song Bing always remembered most was his little Shiba Inu. "Baby, my baby is at home. This time, I came to see Dr. Song the veterinarian. It's about inviting you to make a house call." Wang Xiaoxiao walked into the shop with a smile, explaining the purpose of the visit. He had already come here once earlier, but there was only an adorable nurse lowly attending to patients. Originally disappointed, Song suddenly became interested. Are there many little pet babies that need treatment? You could say so, more or less. Wang Xiaoxiao hesitated for a moment, then gave a charming smile and said, "Very well. Give me an address to reach you. I'll come first thing in the morning." Song glanced at the time, noticing how late it was. He then took another look at Wang Xiaoxiao, dressed provocatively. He still suppressed the impulse to act out of goodwill. Unexpectedly, Wang Xiaoxiao gave him a pleading look. Her alluring, captivating eyes rippled like the surface of autumn water. "That's Song Shui. Could you go tonight instead? Please, I'm begging you." Song Bing hesitated for a moment. Is it because those pet babies are in critical condition? Well, I guess so. Wang Xiaoxiao's beautiful eyes sparkled slightly, and she further added a tempting offer. "As long as Song Shui comes with me tonight, whether it can be cured or not, I'll still pay you $10,000 for the house call. But if you manage to cure it, then I'll give you $100,000. Song narrowed his eyes slightly. He still smiled and said that since the situation is urgent, "I'll make the trip overnight." Song then sent a message to Ai Xiaoxiu and followed Wang Xiaoxiao. The other person's generosity made him a bit suspicious, but he wasn't exactly worried this woman would harm him. Of course, the main reason was that Wang Xiaoxiao was a returning customer of his. Walking out of the food street. Not far away, a purple Ferrari LaFerrari caught the eye. It immediately grabbed Song Bing's attention. Wang Xiaoxiao pulled out the car keys and unlocked the door. The car's headlights instantly lit up brightly. It instantly drew the attention of everyone around. Song Bing looked at Wang Xiaoxiao with even more surprise. This woman was definitely extraordinary. Wang Xiaoxiao seemed worried about being recognized by the crowd. Taking advantage of the night, she quickly pulled Song Bing along. Then, driving the sports car, they sped off into the distance. Here comes another charming young man finding his way into a wealthy woman's life. That rich woman seems to look quite stunning. It's so enviable. When will a wealthy woman like that come my way? People's expressions were complicated, barely able to hide their envy, watching that supercar disappear into the distance. What surprised Song was, Wang Xiaoxiao unexpectedly brought him along the entire way to the Tianfu Lake area, finally pulling into a villa with a cool-toned design. What surprised Song even more was that this place was only a few hundred meters away from his villa. Talk about coincidence. Finish up and head home. It's incredibly convenient. Stepping into the villa. A lightning strike at the start. In the elegantly decorated living room on the sofa sat a girl dressed in a white nightgown, whose natural beauty was undeniably pure even without makeup. A pair of delicate, fair, and beautifully sculpted feet was being lifted. The scenery beneath the nightgown could be glimpsed. Unfortunately, safety shorts were in the way. Wearing white shorts with a dog head pattern, Song Ding widened his eyes. He was instantly captivated. It was because he was playing with a snake. It was a small pure white snake. It was slightly thinner than the slender wrist of an innocent young girl. The white snake. It was coiled around the soft, rosy, and delicate feet of the girl, flicking its forked tongue. The young girl teased the white snake, her laughter as clear and melodious as a silver bell. What surprised Song Bing, of course, wasn't just the safety shorts under the pure girl sleepwear, or the presence of a dog head. Nor was it merely the fact that such an innocent and stunning girl was playing with a snake, but rather the identity of this innocent-looking girl. She knew Ruoi, a sophomore in the College of Management at Andu University, the most beautiful girl at Andu University. Song Bing got to know Ruoi because of her popularity. It was entirely because Ruoi was so famous. At that time, she was already a sophomore, and Ruoi had just started her freshman year.